right, welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of Common Sense. How's everybody doing tonight? Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this. Even though you missed the live party, guys, that is the best part, so make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it, like right now. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus party ever again. If you'd like to support the channel, head on over to theindianjesus.com for your very own official merch. Bunch of different stuff you can get. You can get some for your baby. For your baby only at theindianjesus.com. And guys, we do also have a Discord server that is absolutely free to join. We might have a live debate that I would be moderating. That might be happening tonight in the server. So join the Discord server. It is absolutely free. But if you are a member of this channel, you can scroll right below the video and there is a join button right there. Hit that couple different levels. It just starts at $2.99 and you get members only live streams here on YouTube and all that other good stuff. But it opens up the full access to the Discord server, which includes our voice channel with the after party. That's right. After every Monday, Wednesday, Friday stream, we go in there after the stream and we don't have to worry about any YouTube censors, and you are not stuck behind your keyboard. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. It is a good time. Definitely come join us. Shout out to Zippy in the building. And we got our boy King Nirvana. Welcome. Zippy's coming in hot with a Rumble rant. Thank you. Said, dog. Oh, you got it right here. Dog, the dog. They do the dog thing. Hell yeah. And of course, guys, every single donation comes with a treat for my co-host, Morty. And that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you very, very much, sir. All right. Welcome. So yeah, it's been a while since we covered PBD. There was a stint there where we were going PBD almost every stream. But I think he was laying low for a little bit, but he is back in action. He has got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson on screen. So I put up a poll right now saying I'm not a wrestling fan. Are you? And so far, we have a couple casual fans, or one casual fan, and nobody who said yes. So if you're not a wrestling fan, this is not about wrestling. This is about somebody who is at the top of their game. This is about somebody who has achieved so many different things in so many different areas, and why, just talking to people like that is what you want to do. These are the type of people that you want to live like. At least have the right mentality. So let's dive right in. As always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
If you smell what the Rock is,
I know that.
If you smell what the Rock, to the one, the only, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I heard it's hurricanes are going crazy down in Florida, right? Yeah. Bless up. Hopefully, dilly to Florida. Hopefully, you guys are all right. And of course, if you are new here and you don't like me pausing the video, then you may as well go into the description, hit the link for that video, because I like to talk a lot. That's why I started a YouTube channel. That's bad. I mean, like this is already on video, guys. All of us are watching the video. That's going to be better than what's on your phone. You're actually there. We got one guy, 2, 3, 4 people. 4 people who are in the crowd not watching a live event through their phone. People, what are we doing? Oh.
Wow, good to see you guys. Yes, let's go.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, brother. Thank you for that.
We've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for you to be here at the event. Everybody's been asking.
Thank you so much. Good to see you guys. Here we go.
By the way, just so you guys know, he is, I don't know if you can Tell them what you're working on and how you got here. It's not like you were in Florida. You have to get on a flight, come here, get on the flight, go back to where you're at. Maybe you want to share that with them?
Yes, absolutely. So we're shooting live action Moana, which will be out. Yeah, it's exciting.
I love Moana. I was with a friend and we were tripping balls watching Moana. And spoiler alert, but at the end when the island came alive, dude, there's very few moments. There are very few moments that the level of emotion in that moment that were replicated. Shout out to Moana.
Which will be out. Yeah, it's exciting. Which will be out, I believe, next summer. And of course, as you guys know, many of you may know, we have Moana 2. The animated version will come out this holiday season. So I shot last night, probably till about 9-10 o'clock. Wound up getting to bed after I put the babies to bed. I have all girls. Got a couple of hours sleep. Got my butt on a bird. Flew here with you, and we're gonna have a great time.
I love it. I love it. So you know, one of the things, maybe we can open it up with this, because you know this room is filled with business owners, small business owners. Some brought their executives, some brought their sales folks. Some can range from a small business doing $1 million a year. Some just raised a few $100 million in the front. They're maybe valued at a unicorn right now. Some are doing $1 billion in top line revenue with a few thousand employees. And the conversation comes about going on a run or work ethic and how hard you work. Sometimes when somebody follows you on social media and Instagram, you kind of see the videos you're posting and, hey, just got back to this and I got here at 2 o'clock, I'm training, and then see you 7 o'clock in the morning. How hard do you actually work? Meaning what the audience doesn't see. How hard do you actually work, DJ?
Hard. I mean, you have to work hard. Everybody in this room knows if it's worth something to you, you got to put in the effort. And, you know, the tricky thing, as we know with social media, is you let people in a little bit, you let them in on what you want them to see. But at the end of the day, I always feel like social media may be the tip of the iceberg that you allow people to see, but it's everything underneath the water that they don't see. And
it's so sad. I've talked about this before, but how quickly the parasocial perspective can come in. Like, I am the smallest of small potatoes. I don't even have 5,000 subscribers. I rarely get more than 10 or 12 of you in here at a time. And still, there's people that, because my face is on their phone or on the computer, they don't see me as a real person. Like, I'm just a dude sitting in his living room.
I always like to say it's the work we put in when nobody's watching that really matters. It's easy, I think, when you go to work, you got a lot of people around, you galvanize everybody, you could feel the momentum and the energy start to go. And not to oversimplify the work, but it leads to work begets work. So if we're all together in a room, we're going to work, but it's the stuff you do on your own away from everybody really that matters. So you got to put in the work. How hard do I work? I work hard. Like we all work hard. I like to say that.
But I guess the follow-up for that would be, you know,
that's my family. Thank you.
Yeah, Rock's family's here. But the follow-up for that would be on working hard. There's different reasons for it, right? Some people work hard because they're just like that. My dad's a hard worker. He's just wired like that. He's not doing it to anybody. He's not doing it to make money. He's not doing it to build a business. From the day I've been young enough to remember my father till today, he works. You met him in the back, 82 years old. He's always moving. He's always working. Doesn't have any excuses for it.
Papa Lutch is the same way. He is like, we'll talk about retirement and like, you know, when are you going to not be working so that, you know, like all the movies that I love that I've wanted to show you over the years, so we could do that. And he's just like, it's not work to me. It's fun for me. Like, all right, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you happy. Zippy said IRL streams have to put up with the fake tub tours.
What?
Huh?
But then there are certain people that work hard for different reasons. You obviously are a very super hyper competitive type of guy. How much of the working hard is just because that's how you're wired? How much of it is because you want to suffocate your competitors for them to say, yeah, I'm willing to go here, I can hang with him. He went here, I can hang with him. He's willing to do this, shit. All right, I'll hang with him.
Yeah, I'm not built like that. I am just not built like that. I definitely have, you know, I can get competitive and stuff, but it just like I have the goal of setting up a life where I can just relax and not worry about the government or whatever. Just I have my things the way that I want them, and then I'm good. Now, obviously, I have very lofty goals with this whole Indian Jesus thing. But you know, if that doesn't come to fruition, as disappointing as it will be, It's not like, I mean, I'm just not built that way. I just want a quiet, happy life. And I do feel called to, kind of do this stuff. But if it doesn't work out, I'm not going to cry about it. Zibby said, once you got the work ethic, it's all hard to wind down. Yep. Yeah. I definitely get that. It's especially with Papa Lutch, it's just like, he doesn't know what to do with himself when he has all that time. Like when he gets home from work, he's been working, so he'll just like relax. But if he just has time, he doesn't know what to do with it. He's never been somebody who relaxes. He's in his 70s, so the idea of leisure wasn't really the same kind of thing that we have now. Hey, shout out to Funk Master General. Welcome to the party. Always good to see you, sir.
He went here. I can hang with him. He's willing to do this. Shit. All right, I'll hang with him. But he went here. I'm going to the club, right?
Oh, tub tubers like that. Okay, so what are we talking about? IRL streams have to put up with the fake tub tubers, like hot tub tubers. Okay, tub tubers eat thoughts, and they bring IRL streaming down. I don't know. Okay.
How much of it is that additional intimidation factor of your competitors that you're going up against?
I think it's a combination of a few things. For me, I can trace back my my work ethic to, we were evicted out of we had a little efficiency apartment in Hawaii, and we were evicted out of there, couldn't pay the rent. The rent was $280 a month. We eventually got kicked out. When we got kicked out, I was 15 years old. I'll never forget it. I was standing there at the door. There was not the padlock, but the notice. And if any of you have had this unfortunate experience, you get evicted. They tell you in a week you got to go. If you don't, then the Honolulu Police Department will come and they'll escort you out.
Yeah, well, I was lucky enough that there was a apartment I was living in, and they at least sent a letter in the mail, so I got to open that letter in the mail. And I've had friends who have come home to find that message. Not fun. In
that moment, I saw my mom crying, and because I'm a mama's boy, and that kind of pain really impacted me. And I thought then, I want to do everything that I can to make sure we never get evicted like this again, and make sure that she's never this upset again. Thank you. And that.
King Nirvana said, does your dad chill out for a sport? Because my Gramps is annoyingly the same way, but once a week when the NASCAR race is on, he will stay chill for a second. I mean, he does like tennis, and he's been getting more into golf. He would, I would imagine that, he still has cable or whatever. So I'd imagine that he still has the cricket channel. But no, he's just not really into sports like that. But again, he lives in a 55 and over community, and there was a neighbor who's now passed, but was really into golf and got my dad into starting to play golf, and then he passed and gave my dad his clubs in the will. And so me and my dad will go to this place called the Golf Cave, where it's like it's like you're really hitting the ball, but you hit it into a screen. So it's like it's not a virtual reality, but it's also not like a Top Golf thing. You know what I mean? You hit the ball and it hits the screen. They have all these sensors, and it does it virtually, and you can go to all these different places. So I think I'm going to have to get myself more into golf so that I can have a reason to get my dad to sit down and do stuff. Yeah, we were there a few weeks ago. It's a good time because you can like play like mini games and stuff, or you can go to legit like Pebble Beach actual courses and play and everything in between, the driving range, whatever. And yeah, there was a summer where he had tapes. He had tapes, VHS tapes of the Trinidadian team. Or was it the Trinidadian team, or was it the championships? Either way, of the World Series of Cricket or whatever they call it. And so we sat and he taught me about it. We watched the whole thing, and I learned about that's a six, and the wickets and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that baseball is bigger than cricket here. Like baseball is boring as shit. I don't get it. Shout out to Papa
Thank
Love.
You know, and that then I thought, I didn't even know what that meant at 15 years old. It just meant I have to work. I have to work. I have to do something with my own two hands. So I have a philosophy these days that you got to put in the work with our own two hands, because this is the stuff that you can control. We control the controllables, as we say. The other part is a competitive nature that is in my DNA and it's in my blood, just like it runs in all of our constitution and our makeup here in this room, and yours included, where I love the competition. I love to win. And I also love to learn. I don't say lose, I say I love to learn. So I would say it's a combination of that. For me, the work ethic comes from, I never want to be evicted again, which is probably why I need therapy. And then the other side to that.
I mean, kind of, I get it, but not wanting to be evicted is not a reason to be like, there's something wrong with my mental health. I get what you were going for, but if I'm not nitpicking, what are we doing here?
I never want to be evicted again, which is probably why I need therapy. And then the other side to that.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, I don't want to get evicted. I must need therapy.
What?
Sorry. All right.
You're not alone.
The other side to that is a competitive nature. And that competitive nature, that never goes away.
Do you think that is in you? Do you think that's maybe pops behind closed doors would say certain things to you that you remember? Do you think that's somebody offending you that you said, you're going to say that to me? Watch. What do you think that comes from? Like, is it duplicatable, or is it you either have it in your DNA or you don't?
Hey, shout out to Sov and Num Nums. Welcome to the party. Said I'm so good at everything, I must be crazy. Must be. That's the only explanation. Welcome to the party. So he says baseball is loved because it's a thing people did to get out of work 40 years ago. Football and basketball are more like a couple of hours chilling. Fair, but like, again, it doesn't, and I know that if I were to sit down and like actually learn the ins and outs of baseball, that there is I'm not saying there's no strategy and stuff going on, but it's just, sports are supposed to be accessible. Like, you throw the ball far, and that's good. You get the ball in the hoop, and that's good. You're fighting, and you win the fight. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's not accessible. Maybe I should stop saying it's boring and just say it's not accessible. That's better.
And say that to me. Watch. What do you think that comes from? Like, is it duplicatable, or is it you either have it in your DNA or you don't?
In there, bro.
I think there's versions of it that are duplicatable, and but we all go through our own journey and process. So there's something I think that we all can tap into that becomes our juice and our wiring. For me, you bring up my old man. My dad was a professional wrestler at a time when professional wrestling, I think, wasn't as globally renowned as it is today. My dad was paycheck to paycheck kind of guy, and when I decided to get into professional wrestling, we had the biggest fight about it. And ultimately he said, look, I'm not too sure if you have anything to offer. I mean, it got to that level.
How old are you at this time?
I was 22 years old, 23. And I understand what he meant in his limited capacity to love. He meant, look, I live in this little apartment in Tampa, right up the road, I-75. I don't want this life for you. I think there's more for you out there. And I said, yeah, but I got to follow my gut and my instinct. So I bring that up to say, along the road of life, we always have these moments that are seminal moments where sometimes it's a loved one like my old man, sometimes it's a friend, sometimes it's a boss, sometimes it's a stranger who says, you can't do it, you're not good enough, don't even try, pack your stuff and go home. Same thing happened to me in Hollywood. When I got to Hollywood for the first time, when I got to Hollywood, I was coming out of the world.
That's racist, Funk. That's racist. Zippy said baseball is a slow endurance match. Soccer is a long endurance match. Basketball, even though the rules ruin it, is more quick skirmishes. Agreed. I think that if the rules were better, I could definitely get into basketball. But it seems so pussy.
World of professional wrestling, WWE, and
is that so? That was a thing that his dad was part of, the Wild Samoans. So Samoans. Is that how you spell that? Samoans. Interesting. That's what I was saying. I need some wrestling fans here so you guys can fill me in on some of the lore of if it comes up. And again, if you are just joining us, this is not about wrestling. This is about success and politics and reality. So you don't have to be you do not have to be a wrestling fan to understand this. Zippy said baseball using mostly basketball rules would make baseball so much better to watch. I don't even know what that would look like. What does that even look like? Shout out to Dixon Sider. Welcome to the party. Said The Rock sucks. Has never been good. Well, if he's a heel and you think that, isn't that supposed to be what you're supposed to think? Wouldn't that mean if you don't like him and he's not supposed to be liked, that he is good? This is why we need wrestling people here.
When I got to Hollywood, I was coming out of the world of professional.
Oh, so either his dad or his uncle. So he did say, it's not just his dad. His whole family was in this. Gotcha. I do know they used to fight Kamala, the Ugandan Nightmare. Oh, you guys.
When I got to Hollywood, I was coming out of the world of professional wrestling, WWE, and I was really determined, hopefully, to have a career that had longevity, and I was willing to put in the work and commit. But what I realized at that time was there was a lot of naysayers and there was a lot of cynicism as I was getting into Hollywood. And I get it, because you were successful in another place and now Hollywood comes knocking and now you want to try and come in and make a name for yourself in Hollywood. It was a little tricky because I was coming out of the world of professional wrestling. It's just a unique animal at that time and machine. So when I got there, a lot of people around me at that time who were my part of my management team said, listen, if you really want to make it in Hollywood, and even those who weren't part of my team, now looking back, I could see the chess that they were trying to play back then. They said, if you really want to make it in Hollywood, then you can't call yourself The Rock. You got to lose weight. Don't talk about wrestling.
You got to suck Harvey Weinstein's dick.
You have to look and walk and talk and act like these guys, and these guys are the biggest stars in the world at that time. Johnny Depp, Will Smith, etc. If you don't know any better, you buy into that stuff, like I bought into that back then. But then you start to realize something starts to eat at your gut about, well, this just doesn't feel right because I'm not being authentic. I'm not being myself. So finally, I said, a few years later, I said, I can't do this anymore. I have.
Shout out to a Funk Master General. We have the Wild Samoans here. A couple of pictures, and let's see where are we? You guys see this right? The Wild Samoans were professional wrestling tag team of these people and the National Wrestling Alliance (NWA) and the WWF. They held 20 tag team champions around the world. Wow. Wild Samoans really spoke in interviews, instead grunting in a primitive dialect that only their manager, Captain Lou Albano, could understand. They had afros and Fu Manchu mustaches. Jesus Christ. Completing their, quote, wild man image, the duo engaged in outrageous behaviors such as nose picking, biting opponents, and eating raw fish during interviews.
Oh, hell no.
Wrestling is just a different world. Just a different world. So shout out to Zippy again with another Rumble rant. My goodness. Let's see. All right, let's grab a treat for Morty. Yummy. Thank you. Zippy says it's a point-based system. So he was saying baseball. Where was it? Baseball using mostly basketball rules would make baseball so much better to watch. So it's a point-based system. Home run is 10 points. Ball is minus points. Hitting the batter, minus points. A base is 2 points. Hitting the ball is a point. Change up every 30 minutes. Game ends in 2 hours or so. I think you have sold me. I love it. Shout out to Carl's Frosted Tips. What is good? Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. Shout out to TSN. Did. Soft says, whoever is writing this season of the world has great foreshadowing. Cat Williams and all the other crap in the past is coming full circle. Yep. Sauce says, I used to like wrestling as a kid until my brother told me it was fake. Same. I think if you were born in that if you were a kid in the early 2000s, the late 90s, that's everybody. You thought it was real and you were all into it, and then somebody's like, that's fake, right? It's like, come on, man, come on, why did you have to do that? So taking all the stats from the book and putting points, again, going back to the baseball thing, it sounds good. Calls Frosted Tips says, hit the like button. Yes, it is so free and easy, guys. If you could do that, that would be amazing. And of course, sharing at the video is another great way to help out. Even though you want to click on it, it's just that fact that you shared it. Thank you. King said the South Park guys have a movie called Basketball. Yeah. I forgot about that. I completely forgot about Basketball. Basketball is a classic. Shout out to the White Power Ranger. Welcome. How did I completely forget about that? Wow. Time flies. Yeah, right? Joey Diaz is in that movie. Yeah, damn. I can't believe I forgot about that. Good call. Buckmaster said wrestlers were wild back then. Mostly bikers along with various other tough guys and criminals. It's not too dissimilar to MMA. Yeah, I found I didn't find MMA until way later. I was a Connor era person, but I definitely would have been if I knew about it. Spot on comment of the night so far. It was dodgeball before dodgeball. There you go. I've seen it a million times. I just didn't put it together. Hold on 1 second here. Jesus Christ. No, I'm getting the endless Michael Blackman DMs. All right. Hold on here. Okay. Where we at? All right. Diving back in.
Being authentic and not being myself. So finally, I said, a few years later, I said, I can't do this anymore. I have to be myself. Had a big meeting at the agency. I said, I'd like to have the same career as these guys, only bigger and different. And I mean it respectfully.
Oh, so you didn't sell your soul to the devil.
And they all looked at me like I had 3 heads. And I have a big enough head as it is. So they looked at me like I had 3 heads. And I said, listen, just because it's never been done doesn't mean it can't be done. It just means we got to figure out a different path. So ultimately, I wound up saying, look, The Rock is a pretty cool name. And I love wrestling. And I'm also proud of where I came from this world of pro wrestling, where it's my dad and my grandfather. And I have a lot of family in pro wrestling. And
yeah, I mean, especially as somebody who came into UFC later and seeing what it was, I definitely would have liked to be there, but I am partial to the development of it into a sport. I think there's different things to like about UFC 1 than UFC 200. They're so different that they're not even the same thing. You know what I mean? Zippy says Rock is like, I want to play myself in everything. And then he did.
Go to pro wrestling, where it's my dad and my grandfather, and I have a lot of family in pro wrestling. And then this unique thing happened when I was myself, and we can apply it to all of us here, business, life, etc. Is Hollywood conformed.
Hollywood conformed
to you, to me, when I became authentic and when I became myself. And then I went, I got it.
At this phase,
yes.
Close your thought, finish your thought.
Yeah.
At this phase, how much leverage, power, credibility do you have where they know they can't screw with you because you're going to do it no matter what? Do you have that kind of leverage yet or not yet?
Thank you for the likes, guys. Very much appreciated.
Not at this moment, but they felt the passion and they felt a little bit of momentum. I feel like there's a word that I use. It's called mana, and it comes from in here. It's like chi. It's like a power. Like you could feel it when we walked out and we all came in here. Like you could feel the mana in the room. And I think they felt that at that time. And at that time, I had not had the credibility of any box office big hits or anything like that. But I did have what I felt clarity.
So Carl said Rock is guilty by association with a lot of bad people. Okay, name the names. Name drop, brother. I mean, obviously we saw that video with Oprah after the Hawaii fires, but I think that is more of him, kind of being just a not corporate, but a corporate stooge, in the sense that obviously he's not at the bottom of, just sitting in a cubicle, but on the top end, just the corporation that I work for said, do this. So I do this doesn't really matter what it does for my politics or anything like that. This is my job, and that's what I do. And there are a lot of people who just live like that. They're just like, I don't care about that. I just do whatever I do, for better or worse. Zippy saying, not knocking actors who play themselves in everything. When it works great. Yeah, I mean, I think that if that's all you can do, then it's like, okay, yeah, sure, we'll watch a couple movies of you being you. But you have people like a Jim Carrey, who it's like, if you're going to see The Mask, if you're going to see Ace Ventura, these are Jim Carrey movies. But he still can do, he can still do the Truman Show and all the Spotless Mind, Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, like real movies. You get like Ryan Reynolds. And as much as I love Ryan Reynolds, he stopped trying to do anything but be Ryan Reynolds in every movie. And I like Ryan Reynolds, but not that much. Just a baby oil. What the hell did I jump into? Funkmaster said you can watch Hoist Gracie intentionally break Ken Shamrock's ankle for a win. Pure, unfiltered fighting. Indeed. Sup Num Num said Rich Franklin was my favorite. He looks, wow, I've never put that together. That's hilarious. Rich Franklin. Let's see if they have a side by side. Somebody's had to do that before. Whoa. Let's do this one. Bruh. That's the same dude. Wow, that's wild. And of course, shout out to Don Fry. Yeah, right. That is wild. I did not expect that. And as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, that makes sense. But I'd never thought about that. That's hilarious. I mean, yeah, they're not spot on. I will tell you, one of the biggest pet peeves I have is when you're talking in a group about people who resemble other people, right? And so in this case, we're talking about we're talking about Rich Franklin and Jim Carrey. And so, Carl, I'm not saying that you're doing this. Just in general, if somebody been like, well, I mean, they don't look exactly alike. I mean, their eyes are different. It's like, no shit. They're different people. We're saying they resemble each other. Yeah, that'll happen too. All right, I'm back in.
Office big hits or anything like that, but I did have what I felt clarity and how important that was. I'm not these guys. I'm not a Johnny Depp. I'm not a Will Smith. I'm not a George Clooney. Those guys who were big stars at that time. I'm me, and the most important thing I could be is authentic and be myself. And Hollywood then conformed.
So, absolutely, and this is after when you first got into wrestling. And, Rocky sucks, and you're like, grab the mic, there's a lot of things Rock is, but sucks ain't one of them. Maybe I'm not saying the right line properly, but was that kind of like, you don't get to determine my reputation, who I am. I'm taking control of this right up front. Is that like, have you always been like that? Like, hey, I know who I am. I'm not going to let you turn me into who I am. Or was there a moment in your life where you conformed and you're like, I feel like,
bro, what? Oh my God. Oh my God. I normally wouldn't want to take this much time to do this, but this is hilarious. I, again, never thought about that. As soon as I saw this, I'm like, yep. Let's see. Kenny Florian and Ben Stiller. All right, let's see. Oh my God. Bruh. That's insane. Yeah, you've been deep in it. Shout out to Kenny Florian. That first season of The Ultimate Fighter was the best. I when they brought the show back, I would have hoped that because the fandom of UFC had grown up with the sport, that they would that they would go and spend more time focusing on like training and stuff and getting away from the shout out to Stephen Bonner, and going away from like the drama, because now we understand why you would want to practice this, or oh, he's doing that and he's a ground guy, so we got to work on. And they just didn't. It just was another reality show, the exact same thing that nobody liked. Did I say hi to Dylan? Either way, shout out to Dylan. Welcome to the party. Sorry, that sent me. That's hilarious. All right, diving back in here.
Petition who I am. I'm taking control of this right up front. Is that like, have you always been like that? Like, hey, I know who I am. I'm not going to let you turn me into who I am. Or was there a moment in your life where you conformed and you're like, I feel like I'm in a cage. I don't want to be in a place like this. I know who I am. I'm going to go out and show it to the world. Was it that kind of a moment you had?
Yes. Yes. You'd like to be able to say, I'm wired that way, and we're all wired that way. But the truth is, we're human beings with big emotions and big swings that we take, ups and downs. And
so if he's about to say like, well, I'm not built that way, I just put the work in, that'll be impressive, because I do think that there are people who are wired that way, and they don't have the option to be a lazy person. It's just their body won't let them do it. So a lot like when Jordan Peterson talks about, you can't be a moral person if you don't have the capacity to do evil. You have to be able to do evil and choose not to in order to be a good person. So if that's what he's about to say, big ups.
Because we're human beings with big emotions and big swings that we take, ups and downs. And there was a moment where I did conform to the idea that, oh, I shouldn't go to the gym as much, and I need to lose weight, and I started getting insecure. I mean, yeah, imagine that. And in terms of Hollywood, right, where they said, you have to be like this, and don't call yourself The Rock, and don't talk about wrestling.
What? Hollywood making you conform to what they want? No.
And I thought, God, none of that felt right. So I did conform for a few years until I said, I'm not doing this anymore. So the same thing happened, what Patrick is referring to. When I first started my wrestling career, I got there in the WWE, and I have a meeting with Vince McMahon, and Vince says, okay, we're going to bring you in, and we're going to, he said, what's important to you? And I said, well, what's important to me is learning the business. Even though I grew up in professional wrestling, still so much to learn. And I want to be good. I want to be really good at what I do and put in the time and put in the work. And I would like to not. I'd like
be in a dress. I don't think he has he? I mean, I definitely wouldn't know off the top of my head, but that's usually the litmus test, right? If you've sold your soul, or if what you're telling is that you just ground it, you were just grinding. I don't know. Yeah, that's the Hollywood thing for buying in and conforming. And but what he's saying is that I didn't do that. So, or he's not saying they didn't do that, but if he didn't do that, and he's saying, I just worked and I put in the work, and then it is clear that he can, that somebody can get to the top of Hollywood without wearing dresses and sucking dicks.
Like, in a way, and I mean this respectfully, I said, I'd like to do it on my own. I don't want to be handed anything or given anything just because my grandfather wrestled for Vince McMahon's dad.
Okay. I thought he was going to go in a different direction.
In the 70s, my dad wrestled for Vince McMahon in the 80s. And I said, I mean that respectfully. So maybe it's a different name change. I said, but I just feel like I want to do it on my own. He said, okay, got it. So your name is going to be Rocky Maivia, which is your dad's first name and your grandfather's last name. And I went, that's not what I was hoping for. Which, again, the name is the name, in people change their name all the time in entertainment. But the interesting thing, to your point, Patrick, is that what he did say to me was, I want you to go out there and smile. You got a pretty good smile. I want to leverage that. I want you to go out and smile.
He's probably got the best smile in the world. I mean, some people have it. He's got it.
And he said, I want you to go out there and smile.
The tooth fairy. I said he's wearing. King said he wears some fruity stuff when he was the tooth fairy, but no judgment. Let's take a look. Dwayne Johnson, tooth fairy. Yeah. God damn! Look how fucking skinny he was comparatively. Okay, I mean, I would count this. I would count this if I would count this. Like, come on, bro. We're like, this is wearing a dress. There ain't no way around it. This is wearing a dress. That's what wearing a dress is. So, yeah. And I mean, maybe he's just super progressive and doesn't care. And it has nothing to do with selling his soul. Maybe.
I want you to be grateful that you're here every night. I made my debut at Madison. Vince is telling me this. And I understood the logic at that time. He goes, look, I plan on, it seems like you have potential. It seems like eventually we're going to create an opportunity to give you a push. I would like for you to come in and not feel entitled, I want you to feel, I want the audience to feel that you're grateful. So I want you to smile all the time. So I would go out every night and my music would hit just like this happened here. And I would come out and I would smile. But then when I would get beat, I had to smile, like coming back to the locker room. And, you know, eventually people just started to feel like, well, that's not real. It's not authentic. And I started to feel that too. It started to really eat me up inside. So what Patrick's referring to about Rocky Sucks, eventually this wild thing happened in professional wrestling where I was given a push.
Really quick, guys, a little announcement. As we are streaming, a live debate is coming together in the Indian Jesus Discord server. So if you would like to join, make sure you do that, because it's going down tonight. Michael Blackman and Ceylon De Roufse are arguing about something, and they're going to get into it.
Bush became Intercontinental Champion in the world of WWE. And in every arena across the country, the whole arena was chanting Rocky Sucks. But I was a good guy, and I was a kid. I was 24 years old. And I knew every night something has to happen. It's like when you're holding a ball underwater, that analogy, eventually you got to let it go. And I said, something's going to happen here, and I don't know what's going to happen, but this doesn't feel right, and I'm not being myself. You would walk out, and I would hear people go, you suck, and hey, thank you, appreciate it. Like, it was that kind of thing, very inauthentic. And then I wound up getting hurt that summer of 1997, sent home, did rehab on my leg, came back. When I was coming back, Vince said, I'm going to turn you heel, which is wrestling parlance for a bad guy. And I said, okay. And he goes, and if you don't work as a heel and it doesn't work out, then I don't know if you have a future.
And that's what I was saying earlier to Dixon, that like, if he's supposed to be the heel and you hate him, doesn't that mean he did a good job?
I went, okay.
Who's in the room? Just you and him.
I mean, actors act, but they don't all have to wear a dress.
Yeah.
Me and Vince.
It's always the most masculine dudes, right? I get that that's the joke, but come on.
Yes. It's always straight up. We have that dynamic, always straight up, always open and real. And I said, okay. I said, I have one request, what you were referring to. I said, we have a live show, Monday Night Raw, 2 hours of live television. Can I have the microphone for 2 minutes? I just want to express myself. And he went, oh boy, I don't know about that. You know, I said, just give me 1 minute. He said, fine. So I take the mic and I get on, and this is live TV. And I said, you know, the whole crowd is chanting Rocky Sucks. And I said, okay, I got to tell you something. I'm a lot of things, but Sucks isn't one of them. And me joining this faction as a bad guy, I said, it's not a black thing. It's not a white thing. It's a respect thing. And a respect that I'm going to earn every single night. And within 2 months, I became the hottest bad guy in the company, and then turned into The Rock. And years later, I'm sitting here with you and sitting here with you.
Unfreaking believable. Unbelievable.
And I mean, obviously, I'm sure there's a lot that he could go into about the specifics of going through this journey, but they're going to get more into, you know, the deeper stuff. And you know, I think we've seen, especially if you look at like in Arnold Schwarzenegger, we've seen that kind of story before, where you're just like achievement after achievement after achievement after achievement after achievement, and you know, that mentality is just. It's amazing to see, because there's not a lot of people built like that, or at least not a lot of people who are willing to go on stage and go on camera behind a microphone. King said he's crazy small, comparable to his role in the movie Be Cool. He was a gay gangster who wanted to be a movie star in it, one of his firsts. Well, I mean, you got to start somewhere. Southampton said Rocky isn't real, and Philadelphia has a statue of him. Well, I guess that makes him real, doesn't it?
So now just one thing, just to underscore, the most important thing, I think the takeaway there is being real and being yourself. And that's what I shared with Vince. I said, look, I can't smile. Why would I smile? I'm coming out of the University of Miami. We were dogs, man. We were bad dudes. Yes, I said, and this is wrestling, and this is my blood, and I love it. And I want to talk shit, and I'm going to raise my eyebrow. And
Yeah, as he says, being a heel, then a hero takes some level of range because, you know, as we were talking about in the movies, it's still acting, and I think that is probably why people like John Cena and him are able to cross over. And I think there's been other wrestlers who have done maybe not huge movie parts, but like that movie Ricky Stenicki that recently came out. I think it's on Amazon, but it stars John Cena, and he's just very, very funny. He is a good comedic actor. And I don't know what his role was in wrestling, if he was a good guy or a bad guy or whatever. But yeah, he can act. He can act. And he very, you know, especially when it comes to comedy. It was an older style comedy, like when we're talking about Am I Racist? We're like, oh, finally, just a comedy movie. Ricky Stenicki is that movie, that late night, you know, kind of fun slapstick, a little dirty, but, you know, that kind of stuff. Soft says, if you haven't played a heel to some extent in life, even pranking someone into thinking you're just not a good person, it's not easy. No one wants to be hated. Good point. Good point. Good point. King said, you and Rick. Rick who? What? Another one. Right over my head. I don't know what we're talking about. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Definitely go check that out. Definitely. Ricky Stenicki.
This is wrestling, and this is my blood, and I love it. And I'm going to talk shit, and I'm going to raise my eyebrow, and I'm going to drop fools on the people's elbow. And so it's like that kind of thing. I said, it's got to be real and be authentic.
When you said skinny, you just took me somewhere, because I'm trying to see which movie you were skinny in. The one movie you did, and this is going to sound weird, that I even seen this movie 10 plus times. It's with you and Vince Vaughn. Is
yes.
it Twinkle Twinkle?
Is that the one you guys are talking about, where he's a gay whatever?
Be cool.
Easy, you know, whatever.
Be cool. Say. Yes.
Oh, be cool, because you were skinny in that movie, right? Would you? Is that kind of when you're like, I'm going to go?
Yeah,
skinny mode?
It was during that time where I went on these crazy diets, and
Who's seen that movie? Anyone's seen that movie? If you've seen that movie, you're good people. I love that movie. So that's when you're like, I'm going to go to the skinny, you know, Hollywood model type, because big guys won't make it nowadays.
Well, I was told that, and then you start buying into it. If you have no point of reference or experience, but you have people around you who are telling you, hey, we know this business. This is what you need to do to become a leading man and to become a movie star. You can't be what you were. You have to be what they are. Then you realize, well, actually, the most important thing is to be what I was and am and will be tomorrow, and that's real. And again, that's when everything starts to conform. Hollywood conformed, and I find like.
Yeah, I usually don't do this, but like I almost, you know, never mind.
What I have found, I'm sure you guys will agree, is that when you take that kind of action, that kind of step of following your gut and your intuition, taking that step, whatever it is, the universe has a funny way of meeting you halfway.
So
the universe has a way of meeting you halfway. I like that.
Taking that step, whatever it is, the universe has a funny way of meeting you halfway.
So, absolutely. DJ, I love how you're speaking in a way where
it was about Discord, but I'm not trying to draw people away from the stream to go over.
We're all in the same level, including yourself. You know, because in life there's levels to life. Okay,
there's levels to the
game. I'm sure there's levels to the game, but let me kind of walk you through the levels, and I think it's important for everybody to realize this. So, let's say a guy starts off with only $7 in his bank account. Let's just pick this case study. Whoever this guy may be, starts off with $7 in his bank account.
That's the Rock story, by the way.
Recreates his identity, becomes the biggest name in wrestling, right? Most electrifying man in wrestling. Goes into movies, makes it. Highest paid actor, I think 4 out of the last 7 years. I don't know what the number is. I think 3 or 4 out of the last 7 years. I have the data. 80.
Put a 1 in the chat if you think Kevin Hart will not come up in this conversation. Put a 1 in the chat if you think Kevin Hart will not come up in this conversation.
4 million, 87 million, 270 million in 2021, I think it was, whatever it was. I'm not counting your money, but you made a lot of money. Right?
I made yeah.
Then you got Zoa, then you got this, then you got that. And then social media following, you know, 1 million. Oh my God, the guy's got 1 million followers, 10 million, wow, 10 million followers, 100 million. And then there is the 600 million community. There's not a lot of people in the 500-600 million community, and that's one of one. Then,
hey, shout out to Dan. Yo, welcome to the party. Nobody else thinks that Kevin Hart is not going to be brought up. They are like, I don't even know the word. They're so, joined in the zeitgeist of Hollywood that like I don't know. It's gotta come up. It's gotta come up. Dave Burstia? Burstia? I don't know who that is. Are you talking about Batista? Not Batista. The guy from Guardians of the Galaxy? Is that what you're talking about? I don't know who that is. Bautista, yeah. One vegetarian, but I could be dumb. Yeah, that he was a wrestler too, right?
Is the 600 million community. There's not a lot of people in the 600 million community, and that's one of one. Then, I don't know if you guys saw this 7 years ago, or I'm trying to figure out when this came out, and it was saying, who is the most recognizable face in the world? Like when you go out there, they're going to recognize your face. I think you were at like 56, 54 percentile. That means 54% of the world, no matter where you go, they're going to say, I know this guy from wrestling, from movies, from this, from that. So some people may go up and they'll compete. Oh, man, this freaking wrestling thing is great. I'm partying. I'm drinking. The girl's freaking awesome. We're going to Japan. We're going to this. What a freaking hardcore party and stuff I'm doing. I got nice jewelry. I got nice clothes. And I'm happy where I'm at. And so, nah, that's not enough for me. I want to be this. No, it's not going to be easy to transition to movies. I'm going to do it. And you go, this, I'm so, okay. And then in the movies, listen, just be happy that you're an actor. No, I'm not I'm going to go, and then I'm going to start a drink and I'm going to do term. I'm going to go do this. To get to the highest of the highest of the highest level, where it's not 1% or 0.1% or 0.01%. It's one of one. You're a one of one camp. Tiger is a one of one. Michael's a one of one in their camp, right? Tom Brady last year, we're on stage. I asked him a question because he's another one of those one of ones. Mm-hmm. I said, generally, when I look at guys that go to that level, I see there's three things they have in common. They have one person in their lives that gave them unconditional love. You have to experience that to tolerate the pain. But all you need is one person. You need one person to give you unconditional love, mom. Mm-hmm. You need one person in your life that no matter what you do, you will never win them over. It's like it's never enough. I can go get this. I can go make this money. I can go win this award. They're always going to be like, yeah, but. You know, it's kind of like he hasn't done enough yet.
What do you guys think about that? I definitely see the value in having someone like that, but never. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Well, we are thinking about it. Shout out to Zippy DSM Lee again with the Rumble Rand. Thank you so very, very much. Very, very, very much appreciated. And of course, out sponsoring yo goddamn self. Thank you, sir.
Then there is those who have those two, but then they choose their enemies wisely. For whatever reason, some people don't choose their enemies wisely. They choose an enemy lower than them. They choose an enemy that produces the bad feelings, but they choose their enemies wisely. To become one of one and to go for as many years as you've gone, and the highs and the lows and the losses and the injuries and the setbacks and all this other stuff that you go through, what drives you?
Mm-hmm. You mentioned about choosing enemies wisely, which I love that, and we've heard that term. Certainly you've embodied that term. As I always like to say, you choose your enemies up and choose up for the enemies. But also what drives me is, I'll take it back. There was some cheers in here to University of Miami. When I stepped onto that campus in Coral Gables, we were hungry dogs, but also it was there that I started to understand, number one, it was really challenging to be a student athlete back then and certainly now. It's almost like having a pro career at the same time as being a student, especially today. But what Miami allowed me to do, none of us had money, we were broke, but we were hungry and we put in the work. We always like to say we were the hardest workers in the room. That's where I got that term from. But also that place and that culture, that winning culture that we all want and that we're all part of and want to continue to grow the winning culture. What Miami, it was almost like a forcing mechanism. What it allowed me to do was realize there's more and think for more. You don't have to be just this, especially when there's a lot of people who are against you. And at that time, University of Miami, we were the bad boys of the game at that time. And we played ball, won national titles, etc. But at our core, it was, no, we could still be dominant, but we could still go for more. So I learned that you don't have to stay in something like this. You could do more. And then I started to understand, as I started to get down the road, that, you don't do it by yourself. Because I used to be very hands-on, micromanaging, and it served me for a little while.
I think that's a big lesson about getting the mentality that nobody can do. Like, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. And for a very large, for a lot of things, that really is true. But when you scale up, to levels like them, then that can hurt you. You have to be able to delegate, because when you're at that level, there's just too much shit.
Because I used to be very hands-on, micromanaging, and it served me for a little while. Then I started to realize it started to be counterproductive for me. Oh, you don't do it by yourself. Bring in a team of people. Choose your enemies up, choose your partners up. People who are a lot smarter than I am, which isn't hard to be, at what they do. And then you can continue just to fortify this idea that let's do more. So, for example, we talk about levels, right? And everybody has achieved some sort of level of success in this room, massive, growing to be massive, ambitious, etc. So like you, we've talked about this. We're lucky boys to be able to get to do what we do. But man, the work ethic, the drive, that hunger to compete, it never goes away. I reached this point in my career where I started to realize, I've done pretty good, and we're sitting up top on this mountain. And I realized this happened, it was a big revelation for me about a year ago, where I thought, okay, I'm on top of this mountain. A few things can happen from here. I reached this point in my life. We could either stay here and enjoy the view and bask in it, or we could go back down the mountain, right off into the sunset. And I thought, well, the first two don't seem like it's in my DNA. I know what we should do. Let's go build more mountain. Not only let's go build more mountain, but the difference for me is now bringing everybody with us to build more mountain as well. So everybody can so everyone can take accountability for the work ethic that we're all going to put in, but everyone can enjoy building this mountain too as well. Because what happens is you ultimately, as we go along on the road of life, you become so uniquely focused, myopic on the thing that you want to attract and compete for and accomplish. You and I were talking backstage about that, about, just everything that you have done and continue to do. It's funny. I said to David backstage, I said, so is there going to be a moment, if you don't mind me sharing this? He went, would you go to the Hamptons?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. He said, I looked around, it just felt so good. And I said, so is that going to be part of a lifestyle for you one day where you kind of just unplug? And it was as if I said, hey, do you mind if I slap you in the face? Because he looked at me and went, no, not at all. And I went, that's my guy. That's right. So I think for me, the drive just comes from wanting to do more.
So let's go back to that. This is great, but I want to go a little deeper on this. So from a fan standpoint, Arnold, his enemy was Sly.
Yeah.
They went up against each other, right? And you
So no, Andrew Cuomo is not part of this operation. Chris Cuomo is.
Know that story about
Andrew Cuomo was the one who killed all the grandmas and then got fired because of a sexual assault thing.
When Arnold made it seem like he was interested in this one movie. I don't know what the movie, Oscar.
Throw Mama from the Train.
Yeah, what was the movie called?
Throw Mama from the Train.
Is that what it was? It's like, hey, I'm looking, Sly, that's
story.
Biggest flop, right? For Michael, maybe it's the Isaiah, being left off the dream team, or Magic, or Bird, or later on, maybe a Malone, maybe a Akeem, or, maybe even in the past of trying to outdo Wilt, or, whoever it is, David Thompson, all these other guys as the greats. You go into business, you have certain names that Musk keeps going and he's not stopping. It's constant. Like, how much more money do you need to make? You're worth $250 billion. You're still going. Who were some of those enemies throughout that brought in the best in you? Some names. Like, I can drop some names, but I'm curious to know if you have any names.
Sure.
So, for example, maybe would you consider John Cena as one of them? Would you have considered Stone Cold, Steve Austin as one of them? Would you?
So, as somebody who knows nothing about wrestling, the fact that, again, we're talking about John Cena in this realm, not just because he's a wrestler, but because of the all the other things that go along with the comparison of another wrestler. It's showing.
Would you have considered maybe a Will Smith as one of them to outdo? Were they some of the guys that drove you to compete against them?
Those guys, I know all those guys, and we competed on a great level. But, the truth is, in wrestling, it's a little different. You still compete. You still have to keep your head on a swivel. And I always like to say it's shark-infested waters in that world, in this world too, business, entertainment, sports entertainment. Here's what I will say. When I got to Hollywood, you mentioned Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Clint Eastwood, and Bruce Willis. Those 4 men were so good to me when I got to Hollywood, and they didn't have to be. They were biggest stars in the world at that time, 20 years ago. They were welcoming. I would see them out. They would come to me or say, hey, I want to see The Rock. Can I meet him? Say hello. We all stayed in touch, became friends. And I never forgot that because they were in positions where they didn't have to be. And I realized, though, to your point, Patrick, is the ones who are confident in themselves, confident in their success, and want to see not only the business grow, but want to see people do well. And especially, I feel like I'm a decent guy. You want to see somebody who's a pretty good person do well.
Why not, right? He said, government hates the old and inform. What? King said, I thought Cena was funny as Peacemaker. Not a popular take, but I giggled. Is that what? You guys, come on, take a second to spell check or to help me out here. I think a lot of people liked Peacemaker. I think that was pretty. Yeah. See again. There you go. I actually like John Cena's Peacemaker. I watched the series and it made me laugh a few times. Yeah, I think another perfect example of because that's a pretty ridiculous role. So to take on that role, play it in a funny way, but also play it believable, that takes skill. That takes skill for sure.
It's the people you don't meet, the ones behind the scenes. Those are the ones who are trying to hold you down. So I realize instead of searching for those guys, and also those guys are really there, and you guys will find this in business too, as you know. The ones who are confident, quiet in the room, it's like in a board meeting. The quiet ones will sit and they're really the powerful ones in the meeting who make all the decisions. The quiet ones, the ones who are behind the scenes trying to hold you down, those are the ones who are chicken shit anyway, who will never come to you. You'll never see them. And I realized instead of me
until you have money. Oh, can I have money, please? Money, please.
Trying to find them or try to figure out, well, who made that call and why did this happen? I thought, okay, I'll always remember the people who were good to me. And then I realized the person I compete with most is just me. It's you versus you. Nice. And I think that's something we can all, attest to. You versus you.
I want to believe you, okay? And that's very nice what you just said. Fantastic. But I'm not convinced. I think you're a psycho competitor. And I'll say
I am. I'm crazy.
I think you're a psycho competitor. But I think like I'll give you an idea. When I was watching Brady speak while he's playing, and they would ask him questions, he would give his answers in a very interesting way. It would be, yes, they were a better team today. And the reporter's job is to ask a question to have a story, right? And Brady was a pro. He wasn't going to give him shit, right?
Yeah.
And he knows the game. Because
shout out to Brady. If you did not see when I covered their conversation with PBD, definitely check that out.
You also know this, right? While we're going back and forth. And then I'm like, but I would watch Brady in the game. He playing against that Kansas City Chiefs. Who was the cornerback or the safety that he went in his face afterwards and he bumped him? What was the guy? Do you guys know who I'm talking about? Number 32. What is number 32's name in what was his name? Who?
Oh, the Badger.
What's his name? That's what it is. Yes. So he goes in his face. Blah, blah, blah. Like, this guy's freaking 40. Look at this. And then he comes after the interview. I shouldn't have done that. I lost control. It's not how you behave. I'm like, dude, stop it. That's exactly how you behave as a crazy competitor. But then
I'm on to it. Are you here?
And, we had Bill Belichick at our event a month ago in MGM, and he comes in. He's no longer coaching. So he can talk a little bit, you know what I'm saying? It's like, listen, I don't give a shit right now.
The secret's out. Spill the tea, baby.
He's got a 25-year-old girlfriend. He really doesn't give a shit what you think about him right now. Right? Like, dude, say whatever you want. I'm freaking Bill Belichick, right? But I got a flavor of it with.
Speaking of Bill Belichick, did you guys see him at the roast of Tom Brady? He went in. He went in.
Brady last year, and even with Kobe, because when Kobe came and we did the late great Kobe, to me Kobe is just, I have a very unique relationship with Kobe. I love Kobe. My father and I mean, it was a whole different thing. When he came to the event at Mirage and we did the interview, it was after he had retired, and guess what? He was a little bit more loose. And I said, hey, if Shaq had your work ethic, what would have happened? I said, we would have won 11, 12 rings, right? And then Shaq got pissed at me. He blocked me. You and your little company, who the hell you think you are? For 2.5 years, he's blocked me. Then I invited him to the event, and we had a great conversation together. Do you think a part of you with where you're at in your mind, it's, I don't want to give the media nothing. So the next day, nothing's going to be written about me. And
it has to be. It has to be. There's no way that you can be a person who's lived this many types of different experiences, and I think they're talking politically, and not have decently strong political, opinions on the issues, even if not the politics themselves. And so, like, I tell you guys that I wasn't really paying attention to politics before 2015, but I definitely had opinions on the issues. And it would be so I think with the question that PBD is asking, have you purposely, kind of tried to not give anything? And I think the answer has to be yes. Bro. It was so at first. So a quick aside. So it is. Long story short, it is definitely worth it. Because it's from the same person who did the Dahmer thing, I expected a little bit more of a linear storytelling, and it didn't quite happen that way. And I was kind of, because me, I get picky as shit. And so I was watching it, and it kind of went in a different, like the way they told the story was a little bit different. And I was kind of getting frustrated. I'm like, I don't care about this stuff. Like, bring it back to the courtroom and this and that. But they all pulled it together at the end. I mean, I do think, just like any Netflix original or any original on a streaming platform, there's definitely padding the runtime, but definitely worth watching the Menendez brothers things on Netflix.
You are so great of a natural communicator that you know how to give an answer, but the levels of the answer of, not necessarily vanilla's here. You'll go here, but this is 24, 48-hour news cycle. You play right here, right now, this phase of your life. Would you say that's kind of where you are?
Yeah, I think as you go down the road of life, you start to realize you like to think you get a little savvy, a little media savvy, but also too, you go down the road of life and you experience what you experience, where you're always in front of the media. You either go this way at the fork of the road, and this way is I never want to talk to them again, or this way where you say, look, we all got jobs to do. We're all in this business together. I'm an open book. You can ask me whatever you want to ask me. I always tell that to anybody who I sit down with. The thing that I realized is I have to be very clear and concise with my answers, depending on the subject, because as we know, clickbait time, that's all everybody wants, and they'll take the answer, they'll spin it, clickbait, and then just move on. When you realize, oh, wait, that's actually not what I said. You're taking it and you're spinning it. So the balance is, I don't want to not speak to media. I got a lot of friends in media, as you do too as well. And again, we're all in this thing together. So I can control the controllables about what I say and how I say it too as well.
And the reason why I'm asking this question from you on the enemy side is because at some point, you got a beautiful house, you live in a beautiful place, you got your place that you told me in the back that you like to go to, family fishing. I love your fishing videos. When you're doing your fishing videos, you're out there, you're doing your thing, and you put them out, and then boom, next.
So I think you're at the part where I was like, but it comes together. It comes together.
You've had the success, the fame, the recognition, the accolades, all this stuff. Eventually it gets to the point where it's kind of like, what's going to drive this guy to go to the next level? So if you're saying enemy up, maybe I'll ask this one question on this one. Let's see if we'll get in.
So I think he kind of bailed on that question, but I think it actually was a good question if I understood what he was actually saying, that if it's not that you have this drive to do better and better and better and better and better and better, and then you get to that certain point where, like, you've done, you were huge in WWE. Now you're 6 out of 7 years the most paid person in Hollywood. If you don't have that intrinsic drive, then what is it? And I think that would be a good question. So maybe he's just going to frame it.
It's going to drive this guy to go to the next level. So if you're saying enemy up, maybe I'll ask this one question on this one. Let's see if we'll get anything out of you on this specific topic. Is there a
Trump or Harris?
A next enemy for you where you're kind of and maybe we don't even need to say enemy. It's the next, so you're saying enemy up, like compete up. Is there a next target for you where you're like,
I got enemies.
This would be interesting for me to play in this space? I'd like to be able to do X, Y, Z. Is there anything like that or no?
Well, there's always stuff like that. I think that
speaking like a politician,
I've gotten really lucky and fortunate over the years to have accomplished what I've been able to
Born in a
accomplish. But
middle-class
again, the hunger
family.
doesn't go away. I like to say I got a full plate, but I could always make room for the stuff I love. And I've reached that point in my life where when I wake up in the morning, I have got to be running towards the thing that I want to do.
Or no.
And not walking towards it, not, I really don't feel like doing this, or God, why did I agree to do this, or why did I get into this business with somebody? It's such, I got to be running to it. And
I think literally everything in my life, I'm like, God damn it, why did I agree to do that? I don't want to do this. All I ever want to do is sit in bed with Morty and watch Netflix. That's all. That's all. Why can't I just have that? Nirvana said, I hope they use Javier Bardem more. That's their father. Great actor. Yeah. In the thing. That absolutely, dude. Absolutely. He's so good in that. It sucks that they weren't able to use him more, but agreed.
Do this, or why did I get into this business with somebody? It's such, I got to be running to it. And I realized that if I'm able to do that, get up in the morning and run to it, then I'm in that place of joy and happiness. Doesn't mean that the work goes away, the work ethic goes away, you work even harder, but so I got to run towards it. So the second part to this, to answer you directly, is I don't know if there's anything that I could point to and say, I've never done that, therefore I want to do it.
Okay, we got a clear answer. Real quick, I wanted to ask you guys. I always feel like I make a little game out of filling up my my mug, and I just took a sip from this. So I was just wondering, have you guys ever noticed that, like, God damn, let's really fills that mug up? Or why the fuck would you notice that?
But I can tell you that what I do these days, I run to, I love, and also, so for example, and I feel like it could tie into everything we're doing in here. We all rely on the product, the brand, the consumer, the customer, the people, the audience. For a long time, what I used to do is think audience first. That was important. And it served me very well. Consumer first, customer first, guest first.
Okay.
However we qualify our
Sure.
audience. And it served me very well. I started to realize, though, but I'm not running towards this particular thing. So what I realized is now it has to be the thing that I do.
5 years in the service industry, buddy. Don't you worry. There is not going to be a drop spilled.
To be the thing that I love to do. And therefore, almost like Hollywood conformed years ago, I found that if it's the thing I'm running to and I love to do, then everybody comes with me.
Got it. Okay. So
how's that for an answer?
Well, I again,
it was very politician-like, and so I'm starting to see the game here. I'm starting to see the game. We are. I mean, obviously, it does. Talk about in the title says Dwayne Johnson opens up about on Trump. Am I expecting him to give a long thing about why he's going to vote for Trump? And that's not going to happen. But I see the game, how he's trying to inch away from your life and your business and just in general, what's going on? Well, isn't there an election coming up soon?
What you call a professional, right? But no, I get it. So I guess let me transition into this one for me. PBD Podcast. On PBD Podcast, we're shooting the shit, talking shit. We're doing current events, whatever we're talking. We'll talk about a bunch of different things, right? And just a couple guys sitting down talking.
Boys being boys.
Hey, today this happened. Let's talk about this. Today this happened. We'll give it our opinions, right? And you're a family guy. You got 3 girls. I'm family. I got 4 kids. And, of course, you have to kind of figure out the future and, where the future is going to go. In your gym, I think you got a flag in your gym, right? Don't you have like a big flag in your gym?
Keep an American flag everywhere I go.
Right. Everywhere you go, there's always an American flag. And you're a patriotic guy. You're a guy that loves this country. You have a military following. You have guys that look at you from that standpoint. And today, America's a little bit kind of weird. Politically, we're in a very weird place right now in America. From the left to the right and the divisiveness the last 4 years, I feel like politics has always been nasty and ugly. But in 2001, you went and spoke at the RNC. It wasn't crazy. You just spoke.
I didn't know that he spoke at the RNC. So I mean, King's asking if the rock be red or blue, though. Has he ever said? I don't remember him being very open, but I didn't know that he spoke at the RNC. Let's see, Dwayne Johnson, RNC. Oh, back in 2000. Okay. Okay, back in 2000. All right, not this one. Yeah. All right, that makes a little more sense. Because again, he just the most recent thing I can think of is the Hawaii thing with Oprah, and that is not very red. You're not allowed to associate with those people. So I mean, it does not make sense that anybody who lives the kind of life that Dwayne Johnson lives, the amount of money that he has, the people that he runs around, it just would not make sense that personally he would be more right-leaning. I just don't see, like, obviously public facing, of course you want to virtue signal, but I just don't think that most of these celebrities are, if they care, they don't say it. They'll just say whatever is convenient, and then I think most of them just don't care because all they care about is themselves. And I mean, to be fair, it's there's a lot to do. I don't know how much time the average A-list actor has to watch podcasts and stuff, but that's why you don't know shit. So Num Num said, it seems to me to be more likely that celebs are being forced to promote Kamala. Epstein Diddy tapes hold control. Yup. Clinton Foundation and Haiti is wild. You got him. Got him on the head.
I feel like politics has always been nasty and ugly. But in 01, you went and spoke at the RNC. It wasn't crazy. You just spoke, boom, out. Hey, DNC, boom, boom, boom. You've done a couple of these things. But the last 4 years, nasty. Today, election, nasty. Assassination attempt 7 weeks ago, July 13. I don't know what today's date is. Today,
and well,
is what, September 7th?
So this was at the beginning of the month, and this is before Ryan Ralph.
7-8 weeks ago, right? And your name is always on the Vegas odds of running for president, always. And you'll see it 40 to 1, 100 to 1, 80 to 1, all these other things, right?
I can't say that out loud, but you can read it.
And you're looking at this, and I have my own people on the list on who I think will be running 28, 32. But how do you look at this as a guy that has been in a lot of boardrooms? You're dealing with REs, right? You're dealing with, no, we don't want to pay this, and we don't want to do this, and then they negotiate the contract, and then you have to do the movie, and the people that may be overpaid or underpaid or whatever they do, you still have to figure out a way to get along with them. You've been in a lot of tough meetings behind closed doors that nobody knows about. It's not been written about, but you've been in it. And you have to find a way to do this, right? You have to find a way to do this to the two parties. If The Rock's president today, how do you figure out a way to synergize and bring back America to being united instead of a little bit divided that we are today?
So I'm going to ask you a question. I want to keep the poll up just in case people come in and see, oh, it's The Rock. It must be a wrestling thing. I want people to be like, no, this isn't about wrestling. So I'm going to keep that poll up. But I want to ask you guys a question. And I want you to, should I ask you first or should I let him answer first? So I'm going to ask you so that you have it in your mind, but wait until he answers the question for you to answer me. So put a 1 after he is done with this answer. After he's done with the answer, put a 1 in the chat. If there could be a situation where you would vote for The Rock for president. So again, in just in case
instead of a little bit divided, that we figure out a way to synergize and bring back America to being united instead of a little bit divided that we are today.
So again, wait for his answer. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Because, like, depending on, verse who? Exactly. So let's see what he says first.
I think that, well, first of all, let me just say, I when it comes to stuff like this, I never speak declaratively. I'm always open and flexible, and I think you got to be that. When it comes to...
You got to be that. If you work in Hollywood, and you've got to have both sides that are willing to give you money. You don't got to be like that. You want to be flexible in your thinking, but not so flexible that you can bend to the whims of anybody who tells you a thing. Oh, this person told me this thing. Well, now I'm bending this way. Now I'm bending this way. Flexibility is good, but it should have a reason for change.
The divisiveness you talked about, it's the main thing that really eats away at my gut. I know you too. We've talked about this. And I know for a lot of you as well. I think I always like to say, keep the main thing the main thing. And if the main thing is to bring our country together, for anyone in the presidential leadership space, there's a few things I think that are important. And I'm going to take a crack at this. Is for unity, I'll start with guidance. And what I mean by that is this.
So a guidance could be a lot of different things. Let's see.
The ability to listen and pay attention to everything and everyone around you, regardless of where they're at and where they sit on whatever side of the aisle or other side of the fence. The other thing I think would be, you had it right the first time, so I'm no numbs. Would be grit.
This is what you want. This is the guy who runs the school. Oh, no. Yeah. Okay. Whoa. You spelled it wrong both times. There you go. No, you weren't. This is the principal. It is the principal of the school is your pal. It is Prince. I don't care. But neither of these are right.
Because I feel like if the goal is unity amidst this crazy division that we have today, that we can all agree on, and if the goal is this, as you said, bring everybody together, there's going to be a lot of bumps in that road. And there's going to be a lot of people who are cynical about this idea and this ideology of bringing people together as one. Never going to happen. They'll have their knives out. So I feel like as you go down that road, if that's your goal, is to bring people together, you got to have a lot of grit to get through all those knives and all those bumps.
Okay, grit and guidance. Fair, but what exactly do you mean? And I trust that, and again, I did go through this, but I do trust that PBD is gonna, poke a little bit and try to get a little bit more out of him. And I don't know if we'd get the title "Opens Up on Trump" if he didn't get anything.
But it can be done. I believe that. The other thing would be
only through Trump.
I think humility, in that you're probably not going to know all the answers to these questions, and that's okay. And I always like to say, and I know you guys feel this way in the room too, look, like just because something's never been done doesn't mean it can't be done. It just means we haven't figured out a way to do it yet. It doesn't make it impossible. So I would say humility and strength. You gotta have strength to stand up in the face of this kind of adversity and to stand up and say, it is that time to bring everybody together. Oh, and I'll say one more thing too. I think you got to be positive. I think it's important. Positivity, I think, is important. And be good to people.
Do you think that should be the goal? Do you think the goal should be unity? Do you think that should be the goal? Because I like the way you said it. You said, if that's the goal, right? So maybe that's like, you almost like my parents. When I was a kid, my parents got divorced twice to each other, right? Since 11 years old, when the divorce papers came into the house, it was a very difficult 6 months. Mother crying every day. It was just tough, right? Like, oh man, my dad would always, when he would come home, we had a class in Iran, Khiyabana Hojat in Iran, and we were on the 4th floor. And the moment
well, unless you were talking about the principal of the school, and then it would be a spelling error.
See my dad's head go like this. I knew he saw me. I'd run up. It was the happiest moment of my day. And at 11 years old, I realized that's never going to happen ever again. And my entire goal as a kid, young boy, was what can I do to get these guys to come together? No joke. By the time I was 16 years old, I said, that's no longer the goal. It's just never going to happen. And I stopped trying at 16. They're better off not being together. And you have to find a way to coexist in these two different philosophies that's out there. My dad, on one end, looked at the world in a completely different way than my mother did. Do you think progress for us to get to the next level is try to unify? Or do you think you have to find a way to lead and have policies in a chaotic environment? What do you think?
I mean, that's kind of a leading question. But obviously, you have to have policies in a chaotic environment.
I think the key is, before unity, is the desire and the openness to listen to each other. And it's okay if you have a difference of opinion. That's okay. It's okay because ultimately I do feel like we're all looking towards the same North Star. So whoever that leader is and becomes for us, whoever the president is, I'd like to think and hope that they can hold that same North Star for all parties and all people, and how important that is. So I think probably the path to unifying is the openness to conversation. Like if you bring up 01, I think it was, or 2000 with the RNC.
It was 2000, okay, PBD. Get your facts straight. Not that there was a presidential election in 2001, but anyway. Funkmaster General said his answer should be, quote, after I made the Hawaii video with Oprah, I realized the views of the people were changing. So I started saying stuff that they like to stay relevant. Well, obviously he can't say that. That's the truth, but he can't say that. That's exactly the opposite of what you want to say. The truth. You don't want to say the truth.
Conversation.
At least when it's this.
Like if you bring up 01, I think it was, or 2000 with the RNC, even back then. So even say 10 years ago, you can have a conversation about, oh, I voted for.
I agree. That's hard to nail down, but there was some fuckery going on there.
Even back then. So even say 10 years ago, you can have a conversation about, oh, I voted for this person. I voted for this one. Oh, okay. Today, nothing.
No way.
You cannot do that.
Especially in your world.
Sure.
I would say in your world is probably the highest score out of everybody.
Yeah.
Would you agree, like in Hollywood, and a celebrity, for you to come out and say, here's who I'm voting for?
Yes.
That could be catastrophic for your career.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What was your reaction when you saw the president being assassinated? Do you remember where?
Well, we're going to go back on this, but yeah, it's like AI could see the patterns we can't, but we can feel the patterns. That is, I mean, dilly. What a comment. And you would think that as the atheist, that I would be like, well, you think you feel it, but it's no. I believe in stuff like this, guys. I just don't call it God.
Where you were and what happened and what was the immediate reaction to you, the assassination attempt?
Yes, I was up in Vancouver, Canada, and we were filming a movie, and I got home, and Vancouver, there you go. Yeah, again, my family. A beautiful, beautiful place. I love that city. I got home, turned on the news, and first I hit my phone, turned on the news, and I saw that. My reaction was, this is not who we are. And I hated that this is who we have become on this day. That was my reaction.
What was the when you saw the blood, hand up, American flag, did it give you any, did you get any feeling of, this is great to see a leader standing up after that? Did you get any kind of mojo like that, or?
Yes. I mean, I felt like, if a centimeter in a different direction or less, that would have been a different story. And the fact that he came up out of that was a big deal. And that was I think, regardless of who it was, whether you love Donald, you don't love Donald, it doesn't matter. Somebody tried to assassinate him. And there's no room for that. And yes.
I think that already tells you that he's at least not, straight TDS. Because somebody else would try to be like, well, the rhetoric and this and that and that and that.
And despite it being who we were in that moment, I still believe in my core that is not who we are as a country. So him standing up in that moment, you wanted to see that. And it was also, it was an important moment for everybody to see, regardless of who it was, for that person to stand up.
We were half an inch away from having chaos. It would have been,
yes,
it would have been in shambles if that shot would have hit him. Do you have a Donald Trump story with wrestling? Everybody has do you have a Trump story?
Yes.
What's your Trump story?
Well, Trump, he used to come watch me wrestle all the time at Madison Square Garden. Yeah. And it was great. First time I saw him, though, I said, let me see the eyebrow. I said, you got it. There it is.
That's cool. So he was a fan. He watched you as a fan.
Oh, huge. Yes. Yeah.
That's cool.
Used to come to Madison Square.
I mean, everybody knows that Trump is a wrestling fan.
Square Garden all the time. Big sports fan. Yeah.
So question. This is my prediction side. Okay, let's play a game of predictions. Okay. And I always love to play prediction game. It's good for, shooting the shit and conversation, right? So I think there's a handful of people that either auto-consider running 2028, and I think the timing would be 2028 is more important than 32, my opinion. And I know in the movie Young Rock, your first episode interview is 2032. We have President Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson here, and I don't know who's interviewing you, the agent, I think whoever the other, what's his name, who's interviewing you.
Oh,
anyways,
yes,
yeah, somebody's interviewing you, and it's 2032. So I think 2028. These are my opinions. Okay, I could be fully wrong, and I'll go take my loss at Vegas. Okay, I think Mark Cuban is flirting with wanting to run 2028.
Mhm.
I think he wants to be part of the trifecta community.
Mhm.
And to me, the trifecta community is winning in media. Mark has Shark Tank, however many years.
Funkmaster said, "Hey, fellow Trump supporters, I'm just like you." There is that aspect there, but I wonder if, yeah, I wonder if the gravity of the assassination was enough that like you can get that's a get out of jail free card for saying, like, oh well, we all hate Trump, but whatever. Possibly. Definitely something to look out for. Sup Num Num said, yeah, hard times and struggles and stuff. Food stamps, racism, 9/11. Can't be racist. I watch an Indian streamer. You're the most racist person I've ever met. 9/11.
Wealth, sports, billionaire. He's one. He's only missing one thing to be a trifecta, and that's the political to win in politics. Like being a triathlete in Hollywood, singing, dancing, and acting, right?
Yes.
Like a JT, J-Lo, some of these guys. I put Jamie Dimon on that list because I think he's gradually stepping away from Chase, and I think Jamie could be one hell of a president if he chose to run.
Mhm.
I got a few other guys. I think Vivek would be formidable in 2028 because some of the crowd would go to Vivek from the MAGA side. And I have you on that list on the prediction side. And I'm asking this from you because would it be a wise choice to take 50-1 odds in Las Vegas for 2028?
Come on, give us an answer.
If it got to a point, would you entertain the idea if your fan base, if people came back and said, Rock, you got to do a lot of private conversations. Why don't you do it? 2028 is the time. Would you entertain the thought and the idea?
I didn't see that, but okay, we'll look out for that. Well,
Why don't you do it? 2028 is the time. Would you entertain the thought and the idea?
I've been asked, and I feel like my honest answer is I have little ones at home. I'm a girl dad. And right now, the most important thing, and I've said this, is, and I will say that whether it's a poll that's come out that a lot of people would vote or a conversation like this, it really moves me. I mean, I was the kid who I had $7 in my pocket in 1995 to this, the potential of this, or even the idea and the conceit of this. So it's really humbling, and I'm a patriot, like all of us are in this room. See, he's shifting. He's like, this guy's not answering my question. 50-1. I think that as of now, the most important thing is for me to, you have little ones too, is to be a daddy to my little girls. Truly. And I'm not, being savvy out of this
but by the way, I don't know about how many guys say it's probably 50-1 are good odds to take in Vegas. Who would say, all right. So, I mean, that's what I received from this. But this last topic on this before we move on, because I want to tell you about what's the most, the one video of yours I've watched the most. And I think it's going to surprise you what video it is. I've watched it so many times, bro. It's not even funny. But let me finish the thought here. Do you sit there and think about, like, for example, if I'm your agent, I'm your manager. I'm not, Brad is. But if I'm your agent, I'm your manager. And by the way, Danny and I had a call. I freaking love Danny. I don't know if she told you about it.
Yeah, she did.
Our call was sick. Yes. Like, I told her, I said, I'll get to that topic here in a minute. I don't want to digress, but she's a monster. She's something else. Of course, you know that. But to me, it was kind of interesting watching her. But if I was your agent, if I'm your manager, do I want you to run for office? Hell no. I use that 10% on 100 million every year, whatever.
Yep. Money.
No, hey, let's go 2032, maybe 36. Well, wait till the kids are 18 years old, right? Like, there's a part of it. But if I'm like a guy that's an advisor and I'm sitting there,
Yeah. I was actually considering, this is the issue with how good Dave Smith's podcast is. So King's asking if you've seen the recent podcast. He has a tiny beef with Konstantin Kisin from Trigonometry, and they're talking about the woke right. And I wanted to cover that. But like, Dave is so good at just hitting the nail on the head, just kind of like when Mike Benz was up here. It's just like, yeah, I agree with that. Moving on. So yeah, I mean, we definitely can talk about it like in after parties and stuff. But he's just so on point that there's not a lot of room for me to add to it. But I do like that the woke right thing is starting to become more of a conversation. And I think as we, especially after the election, you're going to see a lot, because right now everybody is Team Trump or Team Harris. But once the election's over, now the people over here who are like, okay, well, this, that, but at the end of the day, Trump, then that's going to be different from this person who's like that. But at the end of the day, Trump. So you're going to see a lot of splitting within both parties. Said I like Dave Smith, but I saw the shallow side of him when he tried to debate Andrew Wilson. Andrew's is very specific in words, and sometimes people can't get past the words. Shallow as in his intellect. He's smart, I know, but I saw where he's not smart. So I'm gonna I definitely agree that he dropped the ball here. I'm gonna disagree that it's a reflection of his intellect. I think that so it was similar to and this is not gonna help me, but similar to how when Jesse on Fire went into Destiny's arena, having thinking that proving that a liberal thinks a certain thing about all Trump supporters, thinking that is a good thing and that's what you're doing. Like that's what fucked him up. If he understood, he would have taken the time to look at the numbers and this and that. Again, I've heard him talk about this stuff, so it's not like he didn't know, but he wasn't doing that. And I think it was a similar thing where Andrew is a debate bro, whereas Dave Smith is not that kind of dude. And so he was like, I was here for a conversation. Like, where are you drilling this down? Like, what are we doing here? And I wish he would have taken on the challenge, but I can definitely see how it's like, well, this is not what I agreed to. I don't want to do this right now. So I personally give him a pass on that, even though I do agree that he dropped the ball. I think there are reasonable ways to explain that away. Now, if they were to do it again and he did the exact same thing or would do the exact same thing with somebody else, then we have something to talk about. King said he's so good. You two mesh well without being in the same room. You streaming him would be platinum gold. I try, like I said, I try as much as I can, but there's just he's so good that I don't have anything else to add. He's just he does the thing. He does the thing. And so like he had a conversation today, or I don't know if his most recent one was with Matt Gaetz, and it's just like this would typically be perfect. A regular podcaster and a Congress member. But it's just so tight. He just gets to the point and says all the things. And it's just like, I don't have anything to add here. I would just be playing somebody else's video, It's tough.
Years old, right? Like there's a part of it. But if I'm like a guy that's an advisor and I'm sitting there, on the inside and we're having conversations, we're chopping it up. We don't have that kind of a relationship. We're just starting a relationship the last, 3-4 months that we started. I probably would do a couple research data. We just talked about data a few minutes ago. My step number one will be the following. And I think there's a way of doing this. I would run
let's go. We got a couple of these before he goes on to that. King said, I think if he went into it knowing what's up, he'd been a killer. Maybe not. I'm not going to go that far because of the fact that the debate is a specific type of skill in terms of conversation. So I don't know that I don't know that Andrew Wilson is not a better debater than Dave, even though I think Dave is way, way smarter. They're just two different things, and usually they will overlap, but they're two different things. So I like Dave, but Andrew seems to do that to people. Huge fan of fence sitter Tim Pool, but seeing how easy Andrew makes him look stupid is just like, what the fuck? How is there that disconnect? But again, doesn't that kind of raise red flags that all these people that we know are not stupid. We know they know the things. We know that, like, it's just the style of talk. I don't see how that is speaking to his intellect. I think it's totally fine to just say, yeah, he's a really good debater. He's good at using words to make his point. That doesn't mean he's smarter than anybody else. He's just a good debater. I mean, I can. We'll try. But I mean, again, it's tough that if I'm just playing the video and it's like Dave just said something, I'm like, yeah, what Dave said. It's a lot tougher to find that space where like when we had the Mike Ben's video where like I just didn't know about what was going on, so I didn't comment. And then there's something where I do know a lot about what Dave's going to be talking about, but he's already saying the thing. So I mean, we can definitely talk about how much we love Dave Smith, but if I can't add anything to what he's saying, then I can't. That he puts it pretty simply, as far as I see it. So like Sam Harris, though, I don't mean he's dumb, but what's the word for it? The disconnect. Okay, fair, yeah. But I think the difference between Sam Harris, because I absolutely understand what you mean about how Sam Harris is a very, very intelligent person, but he's dumb as fuck. I don't think that applies to Dave. I think that is a different thing that maybe if Sam were to get into a debate with if Sam Harris were to get into a debate with Andrew, that it would very similarly, Andrew would destroy him. But I think those are for different reasons. And I don't have the counterfactual to say, well, here's the time when Dave debated Andrew and did well. But he has been in other debates and very high profile debates. It's not like he's not used to doing that. It's just if you're specifically doing it as like sport debate, that's what I don't like. So come on. I like the notion of, getting excited and getting passionate and all that stuff when we're talking about debating. I have no issues with that. I like that, people can get start screaming and da, 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 da. I'm all for that. But I think when that comes before the substance of the conversation, it ruins it. Oh, we got a hungry dance? No hungry dance. I think that if you are coming to a conversation, first and foremost, okay, I did miss it. Shout out to Zippy DSMLA with another Rumble Rain. There you go. Thank you. I like puzzles. They are tasty. Thank you very, very much. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Well, not the new one. Out sponsoring yourself. Thank you, sir. But yeah, there is some shine a light on people. So this I think applies to Sam Harris because he will go into areas where he doesn't know the thing and act like he knows the thing. Whereas I think Dave knows the thing. He's not that kind of dude where he's like debating for sport and he's not interested in that. And I think, again, personally, I would have liked him to see him be like, hey, I don't appreciate this, but I'm capable of handling this. But he didn't do that. I don't know. We can try. We will definitely try. We will, what's today? Is today Thursday? So, all right. Over the weekend, we will do some Dave Smith just for King Nirvana. All right, let's dive back into this thing. That's what I'm saying. Tell me exactly what you mean so I can exactly prove you wrong. It doesn't quite work like that. He knows the thing. So he said debate is less chess and more putting puzzle pieces together to show a picture of your argument. Agreed. But you can go into it if the purpose that you're there is to prove your point or to show your point or express your point, then this is the case. But if you're there to get clips, then that's a different thing. All right. So talking about him running,
I probably would do a couple research data. We just talked about data a few minutes ago. My step number one will be the following. And I think there's a way of doing this. I would run an analysis to see what percentage of your following lean right, lean center right, lean center, lean libertarian, lean center left, lean left, like, whatever. I'm not saying far left. I'm saying left, right?
Oh, there's definitely some far leftists. We saw in maybe we didn't see that, but the woman in Am I Racist has a problem with Moana. I won't spoil anything else, but it is it's a problem. I would call her far left. Hey, shout out to King Nirvana. No question, no comment, just pure love of the game. Thank you so very, very much, sir. And no, do not apologize for giving me money. Do not apologize for giving money. Thank you so very much. Like I've said, guys, whether it's 99 cents or it's $99, anything that you can add to this platform is going to make us all have a better time. $1 plus $1 plus $1 plus $1 equals more dollars. If every one of you once a week put 99 cents, we would be in a different realm. And that's fine. Some of you can't. I'm not, again, this is a free show. But this is adding to it. And King Nirvana, thank you. Thank you, sir. Soft Num Num said good faith versus not. The Dave and Andrew stuff got resolved, though, and more lighthearted, where they plan to do more together and talked out the issue of the conflict they had in the first debate. Yeah. I like when men can be men and not babies with disagreements, which I think we're going to see a little bit in the Discord debate. So sign up, join as a member so you can get into the after party. It's going to be wild. Absolutely. Every super chat is just, hey, in the eyes of the overlord, does he know how much money earned him this? They're all the same to him. And I mean, they're not all the same to me because I know money, but the point is I appreciate it either way. Let's go. Shout out to anybody who's been here long enough that I would always have to do do it with my mouth. If you remember those days, I appreciate you. CB says, clickbait for other things for negative photo op is a painting of the picture. Yeah, fair. But again, that's this is my co-host Morty. He is the best. And look who we got. Oh my goodness. Funk Master General coming through as always with the 5 gifted memberships and a treat for Morty. Thank you so very, very much. And again, guys, it looks like most of you who got memberships are already members, are already in the Discord. But if you're not, Audra Dawn, if you have not already joined the Discord, we have a debate set up and ready to go as soon as this is done. And I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna be insane. Post Morty? Huh? What? What you talking about, Willis? Now that your work has me down the rabbit hole of figuring out what the word is. What? I'm just gonna jump back. I don't know what word. Oh, the clickbait word. Gotcha. Okay. Well, you let me know if you find it.
Center left. Green.
Oh my! I am not. I'm going to be moderating, but so Ceylon Day Rough Say, who's mood in the YouTube chat, and Michael Blackman, who I don't think has ever been here. They're gonna argue about something. I don't know. I'm just gonna moderate because they're flooding their sound bites. Yeah, gotcha. But yeah, they're flooding the text with the same argument over and over. And only Mood is a member. So I was like, all right, look, Michael, I will give you a day pass if I can moderate this debate. You guys debate, right after this. So as anybody who is a member of the channel will be able to see. And it should be fun. So said, if there's a black man, then you need a white man. Otherwise, we gotta talk to HR. Shout out to Funk. Who knows why that is twice as funny as it is here. Good one. All right, let's do this.
Lean center right, lean center, lean libertarian, lean center left, lean left, like, whatever. I'm not saying far left. I'm saying left, right? Of course, there's the likability factor and the fame factor. Everybody loved Trump before 2015. And then it's like, he's the worst human being in the history of mankind. And so he goes through that phase. I'd run that report. And I wonder.
What do you guys think? Give me a percentage. What percentage of people who are fans of Dwayne Johnson? We'll just say fan, because even fan is a strong word. Somebody who thinks positively. Somebody who thinks positively of Dwayne Johnson. What percentage of them would you guess are voting for Trump?
I wonder if you think a bigger percentage of your audience is conservative or liberal. I would lean towards a bigger percentage of your audience is probably conservative, because WWE, conservative. Big BMF, bad mother, you know what? You are a BMF, hands down, conservative. You go to UFC, UFC is as conservative as it gets. Dana's, every time pumping up Trump, right?
Yeah.
You give me the vibes of somebody that wants to be a good father, wants to be a good husband, wants to be a good son.
Shout out again to our sponsors. Very, very, very much appreciated. So King says 40% Trump supporters. So if none said 70%. King Nirvana with the Uno reverse and said 25. Which one is it? Hey, shout out to Damris. Welcome to the party. Damris, what percentage of people who have a favorable opinion of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, in your personal opinion, would you speculate are voting for Trump? The Rock indeed is masculinity. Well, I'm trying to find ways to nitpick, but even I can't even nitpick that. All right, sticking with 25. I feel like that's low. Yeah, that's why I changed that soft number. I'm saying I'm not a fan of his, but I don't dislike him. Maybe a little because he got political with the wrong takes, but besides that, yeah. So if you have this or more positive opinion, what do you think? And I think it's I would be closer to maybe not 70. No, I would probably go with King's original answer, 40-45%. Obviously I don't know, but just guessing.
Wants to be a good father, wants to be a good husband, wants to be a good son, wants to be a good citizen. I think that stuff is very important to you. I feel that. I don't know. That's the vibe I get from you, right, when I watch you. But I wonder if the thought in your mind is, then if I get into this space, the amount of you have to take positions. You didn't take positions. You're like, great, this, that. Those are nice, valuable, positive listening. Oh, that's great. But if you do run, you have to say if you're pro this or anti this. If you run, you have to be, we're doing this or we're not doing this. If you run, there's a thought of, dude, I don't want to effing mess with that at all. That's exactly why I don't ever want to get into politics. Because it's very different than Rocky sucks. Now it's like, no, I used to like him. He's the worst human being in the world.
No. So what, I apologize. I don't know who mentioned it. A bunch of us have been talking about how, he is going along with whatever message he needs to say, like when he was with Oprah. I don't think that he is, I forgot. Hold on. Wait. He just
sucks. Now, why I don't ever want to get into politics.
Oh, yeah. So there may be an aspect of, I don't want to be hated. But that's not the reason why he hasn't gotten into politics. That may be an aspect, but that's not a reason. Or the reason, rather. Soft Num said if he was an actor, an action film star that didn't get political, what do you think the percentage would be? Probably higher. Yep. Probably. But there's also a notion of we kind of know if you're not going to say anything about politics, then it's probably because your opinions aren't very popular in Hollywood. And if your opinions aren't popular in Hollywood, but you're not willing to say them, do you even really count? You know?
Because it's very different than Rocky sucks. Now it's like, no, I used to like him. He's the worst human being in the world. Do you really want to go through that? Does that thought, I don't ever want to touch that. Do you ever go there?
Yeah, you think about that all the time.
Yeah.
Of course. Because that kind of energy That's a cesspool. And it's hard for people to navigate through. It's hard for us to watch it on TV. It's hard for us to absorb the news. It's hard for anybody to be in that, politician, especially politicians or not. So you think about that. I think about it. But at the end of the day, there's two things that I'll say here.
So Kingston, I've always felt that he has and uses the best PR team around. So I'm kind of surprised to see him on this show in a way. Time will tell. And I think, yeah, you touch on something very poignant, very relevant. That like we all saw what PBD did to Ron DeSantis. We all saw what PBD did to Anthony Weiner. You know that even if you're doing one of these live things where it's not going to be necessarily like that, PBD is still PBD. PBD is still PBD. And as Guantac would tell us, he is always looking to make the sale for that soundbite. Where's the for that soundbite? There you go.
You think about that. I think about it. But at the end of the day, there's two things that I'll say here. And I want to double down on it because it is the undeniable truth, which is I've got an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, and school drop-offs and pickups are so important to me, and being daddy is important. And I also have a 22-year-old daughter. And I like to say,
what does she look like? Dwayne Johnson daughter. Ava Rain. All right, girl. Who is you? Who is you? Let's see what we dealing with. Oh, okay. Like, I'm not mad at that. This is okay. So these three will tell us what we need to know. So we got that. Yeah, I mean, nothing just gonna blow your hair back, but not ugly. All right, fair enough. Now we move into this, and this is just a little much, because back in the day, the midriff in the low-rise jeans days, what you would find is that her her hips are here, so her pants would come down to here. So all of this is just tucking the fat from here and just squishing it down and then tucking it into your pants. Yeah. And then here we have dun dun dun. She kind of looks like manly in the face, but I mean, she got the hips, but again, like there's too much here. Now, compared to the average girl out there, I am mad at it. But just in general, strong 6 maybe. Where we at? Hey, shout out to Carl Johansson. Said she look like a rock. What even is that from? She look like a man. Oh, she look like a man. There you go. Welcome. So Num said, dude, Wiener was part of that. Clinton's emails were on his laptop with CP. He was literally married to Uma Abedin, who is now married to George Soros's son. Full circle. Yep. No surprises there. He can say he's probably damn charming and can command the room, so he doesn't worry. Or it could be genuine. That's why time will tell. Fair enough. Maybe. I don't think that. I mean, okay, like it was bad. It made either way. Like, does it make it any better that it specifically wasn't there and all of the other weird shit was there? Like, yikes.
Important to me, and being daddy is important. And I also have a 22-year-old daughter, and I like to say we grew up together because I had her when I was in my late 20s, and where I was on the go, pro wrestling.
Late 20s? That's not growing up with your what? That's average.
Wrestling 250 dates a year for years. So I missed out. 250 dates a year for years. Different city every night. It was a brutal schedule. This is why we all get divorced in pro wrestling.
I was going to say, well, not about the divorce, but I was going to say that like that is definitely something that I don't know that I knew to respect about being a wrestler. Because I have a friend, I use the term friend loosely, but this guy that I used to work with, he was an amateur wrestler and he was really into it. And, you know, he was constantly just beating his body up. And, you know, he was not The Rock. He was just some guy. And I mean, you know, I went to one of his shows and it was interesting enough. You know, I'm not into wrestling, but, you know, my dude, I want to, you know, see what's good. And, yeah, it's just, I don't know how they do it. 200 every night. They're just going full bore. I would never say that wrestling is easy because it's fake. It's not a sport because it's fake. But that doesn't mean it's easy or any of those things.
It was a brutal schedule. This is why we all get divorced in pro wrestling. So I missed out on a lot of her childhood. And I know what it's like to have a job that takes you away. And I do believe that president, that job will take me away. Now, I'm not saying it can't be done. Of course, there were presidents in the past who had little kids. Of course.
Okay. I want to make sure I'm not leaving it right now.
But when they're 8 and 6 and I'm the male figure that they're going to compare other men to the rest of their life, this critical time, I'm home with them. That's the most important thing. So that's one thing I wanted to say.
That is what the priorities of a father should be. That is what the priorities of a father should be. Even if he's just saying that, which it doesn't, I mean, it seems genuine enough. I have no reason to think that he's lying. But even if he is completely making this up, the fact that he's willing to even just say it and say that this is what's important to me. Of course, it's easier because it's daughters. If he had sons, then, you know, the anti-natalist might have, you know, a little easier time have an issue with it. But the fact that he's even saying it, even if it's a lie, means a lot.
Of their life. This critical time, I'm home with them. That's the most important thing. So that's one thing I wanted to say. Just to underscore that.
It's alcohol. It's not coffee.
But the part that you just brought up about that stuff that you think about, of course you think about it, because it's hard to navigate your way through it because it's so venomous and it's so declarative and it's so, this is the right way, that's the wrong way, you're wrong, we're right, don't talk to us.
Yup. Facts. We are right about everything in all through history, and you better not even say a goddamn. Well, no. That's the liberal playbook.
I'm aware of it, like we're all aware of it, but it doesn't scare me, and I think that's the important thing.
Awesome.
No, it shouldn't.
That's very good to know, bro.
No, that doesn't.
Hold on, I missed the.
I'm aware of it, like we're all aware of it, but it doesn't scare me.
Wait, what?
Declarative, and it's so, this is the right way, that's the wrong way, you're wrong, we're right, don't talk to us. I'm aware of it, like we're all aware of it, but it doesn't scare me. And I think that's the important thing.
Awesome.
No, it shouldn't.
That's very good to know, bro.
No, that doesn't scare me.
Respect.
Maybe that went over my head, but I think all he said was the vitriol, you know, there's a lot of vitriol and da-da-da-da-da, and that doesn't scare me. Like, okay, I mean, cool, but like, that doesn't scare me either. And I'm 5'4", 120 pounds soaking wet. So what are we talking about? Carl said, imagine having this walking, talking steroid for president. It's Dwayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Camacho, basically. No thanks. Fair enough. What if it was between him and Kamala?
Yeah, because I think it's going to come and it'll be overnight.
Yeah.
And when it does, I'd like to see you run one day. I'd be curious to know what you're going to run on. I'd be curious to know what levels you're going to be run on. I would encourage you to run that analytics on your audience and kind of feel how they view you. I don't think it's going to be hard to do. You just got to hire a couple of BI, $100,000, $200,000 a year people to do that. You probably already have that on your team. And you can kind of put that on the back of your head that if you ever go, you know, what things will that happen? Would I appreciate you taking these questions? I know it's not the most
like me or Jesus
comfortable questions to take because you're still in the game. You're still in the arena. you're still kind of, doing your movies, doing your things. And again, thanks for taking these questions. Let me transition into another part here. The part that,
by the way, thank you for thanking me on that and acknowledging that. But let's underscore this, because this is.
Thank you for thanking me. Oh, you're so welcome that I thanked you.
Is the stuff that's important. If something's uncomfortable, it doesn't mean we run away from it. It means we sit here and we talk it through.
All right.
Right?
My man.
Yes.
My
Respect.
man. I feel like PBD's kind of, what's the word? I don't know. It just seems a little softball here. Zippy said, Rock is still better than the libertarian freak they are running. Oh, you're talking about Chase Oliver? I mean, agreed. Well, agreed, because I don't know anything about what The Rock actually thinks about politics. Yeah, thank you for thanking me. He used the black and white hand. Oh, what was that? Isn't that from, that's not Rocky. That's, is it Rocky? The meme where it's like, that's Rocky 3, right?
Yes. Right?
My man.
Yes.
My man.
Respect. So let me share with you what video of yours I watch a lot, bro. I watch a lot. I'm wondering if you can even guess it, like in your mind, like what video is talking about.
Excuse me, but on this channel, we recognize the systemic injustices that apply to races and sexes and genders and
I have watched your eulogy speech of your father, bro, over and over and over and over, and you go up and you're really trying to hold it together, and and I see the pictures when you're that one video is the best video, is the one that like your dad is out there walking out with his chest and shoulders, and then you're on the sideline, young Rock, that's the
put a one in the chat if you would like to see the 10 or 11 minute eulogy.
best. That's the best when you're seeing that, right? And then the day comes.
We get
and
3.
I know how important it is for you to be a father. Were you mentally ready for that day many, many years prior to that, where you're like trying to prepare for that day to come where it's your hero? Because
at first when he's like indeed I am the one with the certification. In case anybody did not know, I am certified, baby. Certified. That's me. But yeah, what the fuck was I just saying? I'll get rid of this shit. Yeah, so first when he was talking about, the death of his dad and his eulogy, nobody wants to see the eulogy. I thought maybe you guys would want to. Anyway, they're like, were you prepared for your dad to be dead? It's like, what do you mean? But now that he's actually, playing this out, it actually does make a lot more sense, because I have thought about like what's going to happen when, Papa Lutch, Mama Lutch, Morty.
Prior to that, where you're like trying to prepare for that day to come where it's your hero, because your father pushed you away from being a wrestler, and the ultimate compliment to your dad is, bro, I want to do what you did. I'm going to continue your legacy and tell the world you're my hero. That's the way I saw that. And I saw that, like, oh, brother, I just want to watch this thing on repeat over and over again. Were you prepared for it? Was it like something you were afraid of? Was it something you mentally and emotionally were getting ready for? Or was it like, I'm never going to be ready for this day?
No, I wasn't prepared for it, because my dad died suddenly, just like that. An embolism traveled up and...
Hey, we got the mighty Sarlacc in the building. Welcome to the party. So the poll is spelled wrong? Oh. Well, so is poll. It's P-O-L-L, so we're even. Welcome to the party. I couldn't have done that any better, because I specifically wanted to put something out there that it's like, we're not talking about wrestling. We might have, things about wrestling, but we're not talking about wrestling. So that actually, spelling it wrong even goes further in my favor. But, welcome to the party, brother.
Died suddenly, just like that. An embolism traveled up and ended his life. So it happened suddenly. I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. And here's the thing. And brother, this is just, it's life. And a month before he died, we got into the biggest fight we have ever gotten into.
My dad has this exact same story. Well, I mean, probably not about wrestling, but my dad was born and raised in Trinidad and Tobago. My mom lived in Jamaica, and my dad went to medical school in Jamaica where he met my mom. Then my mom went to school in England. And so my dad wanted to follow her to England, and he and his dad got in a huge argument over. And then he basically, I mean, I'm not quoting, but basically he was like, "Fuck you, I'm going to find this bitch." And shout out to Mama Lodge. And they got in a huge fight, and then he died, and he never got to reconcile. And to this day, it's something that is understandably a very strong point about relationships. And so while I didn't have a relationship with anybody in my family, and then built a relationship with him, and talking about building a relationship with other people. In fact, what you coming up? In fact, I have a bunch of, shout out to King, talking about the hurricane. I have a bunch of cousins and family in Florida, and I'm going to reach out to them and just see if they're okay, because I, as much as I am a little bit bitter about the fact that, like, I'm the young one in terms of, my aunts and uncles and some of my older cousins, like, why am I the one who is driving this? Like, if you care about me, then come to I'm put my face on the fucking internet for 20 hours plus a week. But sometimes you just gotta be the bigger person. That's what it's gotta be. So Carl said, PBD isn't too bright either. Basically an insurance MLM scammer who's trying to transition his MLM profits into a media business. His interview with Patriot Front founder showed exactly who he is. I missed that one. So, I mean, I don't necessarily look to PBD for his insight. The reason we cover a lot of PBD is because he gets good guests, and I do think he asks good questions. So whether he's asking those questions for reasons that align with what I like or what I don't like, I think I'm not really looking to PBD for his intelligence. I do think he has, when he gets to, like Guamtech always talking about, the salesman, and some of that I don't like, but I do think he is good at it, and that's good enough for me. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for interesting conversations.
A month before he died, we got into the biggest fight we have ever gotten into, and we never had a chance to reconcile that. It was brutal. And it was during Christmas time too as well. So Christmas was just tainted, and I felt like shit. He felt like shit, and my mom was involved, and admittedly I was angry. And 3 weeks went by, we didn't reconcile. He died, and that was it.
That's how it goes, man. I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. Yesterday was 11 years since my best friend in the world, the only person that I've ever considered a true family before, well, at that time, even before Papa Lutch, he was family. He was the reason that I came up with this notion that I lived by, that family is thicker than blood. The play on that blood is thicker than water. Okay, maybe so. But family is thicker than blood. Just because you have my blood does not make you my family. You have to earn that title. And my brother did. And then he died. That was it. That's how it goes.
And so you asked me if I was prepared. No one's ever prepared for that.
Yeah, King said that's how it always is too. Everyone in the family, when it comes to reaching out, mine's the same way. So, like, I think, with this thing about, stuff's going on in Florida, we just had my sister's wedding, and we were talking, and it's an opportunity to kind of like, okay, maybe things weren't amazing in the past, but here's an opportunity to like, let's use this as a marker of going forward. We do whatever. And like, if I'm going to reach out to y'all literally while I'm live on the internet and arguing with fucking Michael Blackman and commenting on this, and if I'm thinking about you, well, all that is going on, and then you don't respond in anything, well, then I have my answer. I can guilt free be like, oh, I don't need to give a fuck about you because you clearly don't give a fuck about me. And I've spent way too much time and energy caring about people who just don't care about me. Don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, this idea of, they're family. That's toxic. Carl said, PBD actually asked the Patriot Front founder, who hurt you? Which is most widely used by feminists and MSM media response when you point out something that is true. It's a bitch move. Agreed. Maybe we're gonna have to take a look at that, because as much as like I said, we mainly look at PBD because of the guests that he gets, and we're focusing on them, but we also want to understand like what kind of platform is this really. So I guess I got some homework to do.
And that was it. And
that was it.
So you asked me if I was prepared. No one's ever prepared for that, even if, God forbid, you have a loved one who is transitioning out, and you can prepare as best you can for their transition. Or in my case, they say goodbye just like that without saying goodbye.
Yep. And Akon was on. That's the one thing. And I know we talked about it yesterday, so humor me for talking about my brother who died 11 years ago. But he made it. He made it out. If you can see this life as something that is temporary, and we're just here. He was fucking bitches, doing drugs, selling drugs, doing all this crazy stuff, but still people loved him because of how he treated people. And at the end of the day, he got away with all of it. He smoked cigarettes. Everything, and not a single consequence from that, because he didn't deserve any negative consequences. He was out like that, and I'm, as much as I would love for him to still be here, the fact that he never has to feel pain again, he never has to feel guilt or anything is enough. That's what carries me through. When religious people ask, like, oh my God, blah, 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 I did not even think about God for days. And I was like, oh, wow, that's weird that I didn't think about God. Yeah, I didn't think about religion at all. Hey, shout out to Funk Master General with the $5 super chat. Thank you so very much. Said, I don't like as much as I fear the overlord's wrath. As you should. And of course, that makes you the new sole sponsor of the stream. Oh, knocking Zippy out by $1. My goodness. Thank you, sir. All right, let's dive back in here. Let's do the damn thing.
In my case, they say goodbye just like that without saying goodbye. So I never had a chance to say goodbye, and never had a chance to write that thing that I wish I did. And so that was a tough one. That was, and the lesson though I realized is we hear this all the time. You never know what's around the corner. Hug your loved ones, hug your little ones. I do a lot of work with Make-A-Wish, and every time I do it, yeah, thank you. It's so important.
I would expect that an organization like Make-A-Wish Foundation would either be like the best or like straight up money laundering. There's no way that they can be like kind of good, right? Like we have like what's the breast cancer one, the Susan whatever, where they take most of the money for administrative costs and stuff. I would have to imagine that for Make-A-Wish to be around this long and to be as popular it is, that somebody would have looked into, this, that, or the other and be like, see, they're not good. But nobody has. That doesn't mean that they're clean. I'm just saying. I'm supposed to, I figured as much. Thank you very much.
Work with Make-A-Wish, and every time I do it, thank you. It's so important. And when you leave those meetings with Make-A-Wish, you see these kids who are so strong, and you see the parents who are being so strong too as well. You go home, you hug your kids tighter. That's just what you do. And so we hear.
I can't wait for the day, man. I'm perfectly fine with where my life is right now, but I will be very disappointed if I don't ever have a family. And, see, as a millennial, I think that, the arrested development of this entire generation, I don't think it's weird for people to be getting married and having kids after 40. And that's what I expect. I'm turning 35 in a couple months. And then I think the next 5 years is just about fucking grinding. And then when I hit 40, then I think I'll be in a better position to date and stuff. But I can't imagine. Like, those of you who have kids, those of you who have a family, I am fucking jealous. Fucking jealous.
All the time. Hug your kids. Take care of your loved ones. Hug your loved ones. You never know.
Hide your wife. Hide your kids.
It's around the corner.
If you know, you know.
But until you go through something like that, that's when those words really hit home. And I realized that, man, I thought, I wish I had a shot just to hug my dad one more time, or hug and say, and maybe he's listening now. So hug and say, it's all right. It's all right. We're good. I never had a chance to do that. How? That's why it was so cool meeting your dad backstage. I love that.
Yeah. How big of a role did faith play in you? Like, because that's pretty heavy. That's not easy. That's a very heavy thing that you carry as a man with your father. How big of a role did faith play for you to be able to continue with your life, to be a good father, to be?
This could win me over. He was like, actually, not really. I'd be like, hell yeah.
A good role model. Was there a big role there? Or?
Yes. Faith before my dad passed away has played a very important part of my life. Faith after my dad passed away played a very big part in my life, because a lot of times you go down the road and, there's the phrase, you have to walk by faith and not by sight. A lot of times you walk by faith, not sight nor experience, and you just don't know. So you got to have that faith. The faith is the thing, for one of the many things that can anchor us and that should anchor us. So yeah, and it's funny. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. Faith is the anchor, man. It's funny when my dad, because we had a complicated relationship, when I was 5 years old, our bonding was come with me to the gym, sit in the corner, but that was our bonding. And then as I got a little older, 8, 9, 10, he'd let me work out a little bit. He'd take me on the wrestling mats. He'd kick the shit out of me in a good way. And so his capacity to love. My dad was kicked out of the house when he was 13. I'll tell you a quick story about my dad. So my dad's dad died when he was 13.
Damn.
That Christmas, my dad's mom had another boyfriend.
Fucking bitches. I was just listening to Bill Burr's podcast, and it was like they did a study on how widowers and widows do differently, and the men are distraught after their wife dies, and women are like and the article goes on to say, well, that's because women are so social and amazing and da-da-da-da-da-da. God damn it, they are never happy. They are never happy. Well, they in fact, they are happy. In the moment, they are happy because that's what they live. Moment to 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 moment. Jesus Christ. Sorry. Triggered.
That Christmas, my dad's mom had another boyfriend. The boyfriend got drunk, urinated on the turkey. My dad's 13. Small town up in Nova Scotia. My dad at 13 grabbed a shovel and he drew a line in the sand and said, if you cross that line to the drunk boyfriend who peed on the turkey, I'm going to kill you.
God damn. Shout out to El Diablo. No question, no comment, just pure love of the game. Thank you so much. And of course, a treat for Morty. Thank you so very, very much. And welcome to the party. I will take this opportunity, guys, to tell you that I made a new channel in the Discord server. So even if you are not a member of this channel, you can join the server for free and see tonight's debate. If that's not a reason to join, I don't know what the fuck it is that you guys want from me. Join the Discord. Let's get this done. It's going to be wild. We got one-on-one. I am moderating, and it is going to be wild. Thank you again, El Diablo, the new Oh, no, that's Canadian. But either way, so that's more then, right? No? Yes? No? That's, I don't know. We'll throw you up there. I don't give a shit. We got this. Thank you. Very, very much. I will add you to the banner in just a moment. Carl said, it's evolutionary programming. Men are programmed to die to protect their women, and women are programmed to go with the man who just murdered their man. Yes, sir. Well, goddamn. Ain't no math necessary. We got a new co-sponsor of the stream. Again, with no question, no comment, just pure love of the game. Are you guys liking these super chats? If you ain't paying, you better be liking the people who are. Thank you. So very, very much, sir. Very, very much appreciated. Let's dive back in.
Said, if you cross that line to the drunk boyfriend who peed on the turkey, I'm going to kill you. And so the drunk crossed the line. My dad hit him in the head, knocked him out cold, didn't kill him. Cops came. When the cops came at that time, the cops told my grandmother, my dad's mom, when this man becomes conscious again, one of these two, they're going to kill each other. So one of them should go. You know what's next. So my grandmother said to my dad, you got to go. Wow. So he was kicked out at 13. My point is, that's his capacity for love right there. So that's the man that raised me. Respect is given when it's earned. No one's going to give you shit. Go out and earn it. Work hard. Get up with me before the sun. Come to the gym. So all that stuff I got from my old man. And the reason why I'm telling this story is because even though I didn't reconcile with my dad, I think one of the saving graces when we talk about faith is if you have a complicated relationship with your dad and you grow up, you start to look at the world differently. Like, oh, I want to be the opposite of my dad. I don't want to have that quality. I want to have my own quality. I don't want to do it like that. I want to do it like this.
And even as much as I love Papa Lutch, and as much as his work ethic is, I don't know. I don't know where that part, like, why didn't that get passed down? Because that man is a workhorse. I forgot what I was saying. What did you say?
Dad.
Oh yeah, being the opposite of your dad. That I didn't necessarily think that. I don't know if the life that you're living is the life that I would want to live. I am very grateful that you've been through all this to provide me with an amazing life and a legitimate head start. But I don't want to be like you. I saw, not to get into too much, but the way that him and my mom interacted, I felt like it could have been a little less just. Accommodating, and always working, not really spending time with the kids. And obviously now as an adult, I understand, you can't do both of those at the same time. But as a kid, that shit matters. It doesn't matter why dad is not there. Dad is not there. And when only mom is there and she's wound up real tight, then it is tough. Shout out again to Zippy DSMLA for another Rumble Rain. Thank you so very, very much. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. 5. We got triple sponsors. 3 co-sponsors. Guys, oh my goodness. Thank you so very, 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 very much. And of course, we do have the link here. Join the Discord. The debate is going down as soon as we are done here. All right. Speaking of which, let's finish this up and let's get to it.
You start to look at the world differently. Like, oh, I want to be the opposite of my dad. I don't want to have that quality. I want to have my own quality. I don't want to do it like that. I want to do it like this. I don't know if I like that. I do it like this. But then when he died, and you really start looking at the stuff that was really important and the stuff that really matters, then you realize, man, I got a lot of great qualities from my old man. Thank you, Dad.
Mhm.
And that's the thing that.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Dilly dilly to a Papa Lutch. Everybody put Papa Lutch in the chat if you are glad that he lived through everything that he lived through so that I could be here. Appreciate you, Dad. Appreciate you, Dad. And quick announcement. So I just made a special channel. So you do not even have to be a member of this YouTube channel. Did I already announce this? Either way, you do not have to be a member. It's free to join. You can see the debate. As soon as we are done here, that's what we're doing. Join the Discord.
I got a lot of great qualities from my old man. Thank you, Dad. And that's the thing that helps me, in a way, reconcile with my old man, and that today I can say, hey, thank you, Pops, for,
Sick. Powerful. So, meaning a lot of the signs are still through you, even though at one point, my pastor one time told me something. I always talk about this. He said, one thing, Patrick, you need to know about your relationship with your father. Every father and son goes through 3 phases. First, you idolize him. 2, you demonize him. 3, you humanize him. And he says those 3 phases are evident when you're going to go through it. The sooner you can go into humanize, the more you can enjoy life and your relationship with him.
Are you there now?
100%. Yeah. Him and I, my dad's my best friend in the world. Him and I have been there in a big way, but he's everywhere I go.
Yeah, well, add she's not really British. The British is like here. The wound up mother thing that you're talking about. Asian. She's Chinese, motherfucker. Ain't no British. The British. Well, sir, I don't think that you should be doing that. Come on.
It's my best friend in the world. Him and I have been there in a big way, but he's everywhere I go. He's with us. He lives with us. But I love the story you shared. By the way, so if with that upbringing, with that kind of a father that's just grinding, driving, like nothing's ever enough, boom. Then you come in and you're telling stories about you and Vince. And Vince is also a little bit of a complicated guy, right? Vince McMahon is not there's a lot of weird, and I'm not even going to the weird side. I'm just talking, he's a complicated guy on how he is. What was it behind closed doors with your relationship with Vince that made it work? Because this guy's a big personality, larger than life. I don't know what he's worth today. I think he's $7-8 billion. I don't know his net worth because he sold it for $10.6 billion or $11 billion when he sold it.
Yes.
And it's funny, Endeavor bought both of them, right? They bought UFC and they bought, WWE, which what a long term. If they do it right, and I know Ari's a brilliant guy, so he'll do it right. But how was your relationship with Vince, and what things did you pick up from him, specifically with the relationship behind closed doors?
The relationship with Vince and I was a great relationship.
So in case you're living under a rock, Vince McMahon is the guy who owns all the wrestling stuff.
Because it was based on, I'm willing to work for every dollar. I'll tell you a story about Vince too as well that really helped expand the aperture of my brain in terms of business. But our relationship with Vince and I, it was about the work. I'm willing to put in the work. And I have a tremendous, boundless respect for the business of pro wrestling. That is so deeply important to him. That's his life, it's his world, it's his blood. And I grew up in the business of pro wrestling. My grandfather wrestled for Vince's dad in the 70s. My dad wrestled for Vince in the 80s. So I went into this with a tremendous amount of respect and reverence, willing to put in the work. Let's get to work. And I shared this with Vince when I became The Rock and things started to take off for me. He said, what's next? I said, I feel what's next is to take this brass ring and take it to places it's never been. He said, where's that? I said, I don't know. Let's figure it out together. So I'll share this one story with you guys, and you'll appreciate this too. I was coming up, and my very first contract with the WWE, with Vince that I signed with him, was a 5-year contract for $150,000 a year.
How old are you at this time?
24.
Okay.
Jesus.
Okay. $150,000 a year.
So $750 is what you're signing.
$750 However, keep in mind, not only taxes, but also in that world of pro wrestling, I had to pay for everything. So I pay for hotel and food and transportation.
Wait, so when you're on the road 250, he's not covering the rooms and
Not then.
Okay.
Well, when you're young, gotcha.
Different now.
Yeah, I bet that makes sense.
So, and again,
that's probably very similar to the UFC. I mean, Dana says that they model UFC after the WWE model. But yeah, the lower, your Conor McGregor's, your Ronda Rousey's, they are making bank and guaranteed money. But the guys at the bottom, they are scrapping for maybe a few $1,000s.
What? Haram!
It pooped on him? Why?
150 grand per year is great. When you're wrestling 250 dates a year, do the math.
Broke.
What you're getting per match.
Right.
And it was what it was. It was an opportunity for me. Look, I came from $7. So this, great. It was time to renegotiate. And a couple of wrestlers at that time, about 3 years later, as I became The Rock, newly minted The Rock.
Now you're somebody.
It was time. He wanted to renegotiate my contract about 2 to 3 years in. A couple of wrestlers at that time had their own agents. I chose not to have an agent. He said, are you going to have an agent? Are you looking for an agent? I said, I'm not.
An agent?
I'd like to negotiate with you directly. And how we met was with a handshake. And I believe how we're going to do this is with a handshake. Handshakes are very important to me, as I know everybody in this room. So I always say my handshake is better than anything I ever signed. It's right here. So he said, great. I love that. I respect it. He said, what are you thinking? And I said, who's the highest paid, if you don't mind me asking, between us, who's the highest paid on the roster? He said, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I said, okay. I said, if you don't mind me asking, what's his guarantee? He said, $1 million. Oh, okay.
$1 million for what, the year? $1 million for the year, or guarantee? Okay, guarantee. Gotcha. So at least $1 million.
Okay. I went, okay. I want 2.
Balls of steel. What's that movie where he's like, did you just take your dick out and lay your fucking balls on the table, dude?
So, I know the balls of that kid. So he said, 2 million? I said, yes. Guaranteed? Yes. And he said, I'm just curious, where do you get that from? Like, what are you figuring out in your mind? And I said, well, I love Steve. I respect him. But if he's getting $1 million, where I see myself going is past $1 million. I think it should be 2. And he went, okay, I understand that logic. He said, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to put you in contact with one of our executives, and I need you to take a couple of months, if it takes that long, because I was on the road. He goes, I need you to understand the business. I need you to understand the business, this side of the business, from top to bottom, all the economics.
Oh, wow.
I want you to
No, I don't know about mixed man's odd sexual preferences. I do not. I'm actually grateful that that is not something that's in my brain.
You to understand the business, this side of the business, from top to bottom, all the economics.
Oh, wow.
Yes, what I just dropped is the debate link for the room exactly. And as soon as we are done here, that is going to start. So that link, actually, I'm going to pin that link. Instead of the link for you to join this channel and give me money, I've replaced that link with a free link for you to join the Discord server where 24/7 we're in there hanging out, having a good time anyway. And I made it specifically so that everybody can see. Now, if they bail, I don't have control over if people bail. But we've been setting it up and it's good to go. So let's do it.
I need you to understand the business, this side of the business, from top to bottom, all the economics.
Oh, wow.
I want you to understand that. I want you to understand our cost, overhead. I want you to look at what's allocated to the board. I want
a great thing to do.
Yes. I want you to take the time and put in the work that you say you're committed to in the ring. Yes, I expect that from you. But now I want you to learn the business. Once you learn this business, then you come back to me. And then we'll talk about what the renegotiation.
Who was the executive? Was that a CFO?
It was like a CFO.
Okay, I got it. Yeah. So you learned the money aspect of the business.
Yes,
got it.
Exactly. What the overhead costs are, what the costs are every venue we go into, what the cost of the venue is, what the state tax is, what the allocation for all the wrestlers is going to be, that percentage of what the gate is that particular night. I didn't take 3 months. I mean, maybe it was just 2 weeks, and it was baptism by fire. And I learned to absorb as much as I could about the business. I went back to Vince and I thanked him. I gave him a big hug. I said, I understand now. I'd like to match it at $1 million, what Steve is getting. Thank you for taking me through it. And we had a great conversation. And he said, how much do you think you're going to make this year? I said, well, my guarantee is $1 million. I've been averaging about 50% over my guarantee, so maybe 1.5. He went, okay. Now that you've taken yourself through that, now you understand the business, you're going to make $15 million this year.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
$15 million a year, bro. That's more than $1 million a month. That's more than $1 million a month. And even, oh my God. Sorry. Okay, moving on.
You're not expecting this.
No, but he already did the math. He could see where it goes.
Wow.
He'll make $50 million.
Life changing. What was your reaction when he says that?
Holy shit.
That's from 150 a year to 15 million. That's 100x in income.
That was crazy. But that was by the time we hit about 1999, 2000, wrestling had a boom period at that time. Yeah.
By the way, wrestling, I think if I'm not mistaken, wrestling's YouTube channel for sports and entertainment, I think it gets the most views.
Number one.
It's number one, right? Yes. It gets the most views. I don't know how many subscribers they have, but you'll see videos, 288 million views, 263 million views. It's not like it's a easy thing to do. That's pretty interesting.
What?
I got another question for you. This part of it, maybe it's a little bit for us. Some of you guys may not be interested in this, but I'm asking this question. So I'm a fan of bodybuilding. I'm a fan of Mr. Olympia. I'm a fan of all the bodybuilding stuff that's going on. Years ago,
I love the shape of a man's body, says PBD.
I'm interviewing Ronnie. I went through the whole phase of interviewing all the Mr. Olympia. So Ronnie comes, Dorian Yates comes, Phil comes, Dexter Jackson comes. I bring everybody one by one we're interviewing, and they're going really good. So I get a call from the CEO of Mr. Olympia. He says, I'd like to meet with you at Prime at Diplomat, which is like 40 minutes away from here because we're in Palm Beach. So I meet him over there, and I'm like, hey, so tell me, blah, 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 blah. Listen, I'm noticing some of the stuff you're saying. You're calling us out with Mr. Olympia on the way we're doing this. And, I understand that, but what can we do to collaborate? I said, forget about collaboration. Are you guys for sale? Mm-hmm. I'm interested. No, we're not for sale. You're not for sale? No, at all. No. Well, what is the brand in? Well, it's muscle and fitness and it's really this, the whole breakdown of the business. And then 3 months.
Oh, we call them in-ground pool, but since you're the Floridian, I'll go to you.
Months later, they announced Jake Wood bought Mr. Olympia. Okay. And I think this is the time where you were going to Mr. Olympia. You were involved. You were going there. And obviously, Danny is somebody that is an ambassador. Yeah, of course. How close were you guys of buying Mr. Olympia?
What? Am I right?
We were close.
Super close?
I don't know about super close,
okay.
But the discussions were there. And Danny, who Patrick is referring to, she's my business partner. I've known her since I was 18 years old, University of Miami. She wound up becoming my first wife. We have our child together. We got a divorce, still stay together. Even through the divorce, we thought, well, we've been building this company over here. Should we continue to build it? We don't hate each other. We just wound up getting a divorce. So let's continue to build it. So that's who he's referring to with Danny, who wound up becoming a competitor and getting her pro card in bodybuilding. And we grew up just loving working out and training. And so we were with the Mr. Olympia. We were in discussions at that time.
Discussions, eh? Shout out to Am. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. So Carl says, PBD asked him one adversarial question. It's all, tell us how great you are, Mr. Rock. You will be our president, Mr. Rock. Total softball interview. I agree. This is this. I think this is a setup for them to talk in the future. I would expect that if there is any weight, any substance to the idea that he is thinking about dipping his toe into politics, then setting this up is brilliant. Now, it's not a great look, but he's also not necessarily. He's asking what seem like tough questions. Well, I'm gonna dig a little more, and so I'm not mad at it. I hate the player, not the game. But I mean, this is being done well. This is very deliberate as fuck.
And so we were with the Mr. Olympia. We were in discussions at that time. There were a lot of discussions that were happening, and at that
guys, if you are in Discord, I'm trying to make sure that they don't bail out. So I just put a thing in free chat with the Sailor versus Michael Blackman. Hit the interested button in free chat.
At that time, it was really interesting, and I think for you too as well. I think we were probably sensing it. There's something interesting there at that time.
But it never happened. It wasn't.
No.
So, and is there any interest now or not really? Like no interest in Mr. Olympia brand. I think it's tough to scale. I think it's challenging. But you know what I thought about, and I was telling the bodybuilders, I'm like, dude, if Rock buys Mr. Olympia, and say Danny would run it and she would crush it, right? If she ran it, and somebody who wins, I'm doing a movie, they get a part. You're able to get that recognition and the eyeballs. Oh my God, look how this guy's playing this and that guy's playing this part. I thought it was a very smart move for them to sell it to you guys. I'm surprised they didn't. My opinion, it's their loss, but still, I'm a fan of the game. I'm a fan of the sport. I just don't think it's what it was 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Facts. Funkmaster said, yeah, Carl, if The Rock ever became president, we've already hit rock bottom. Good one. And, I understand what is the purpose of this interview. I think that Dwayne is a very unique person, and anything that we can glean from somebody who is not like other people is worth it. What I was just talking about is I think that this particular interview on behalf of PBD is to set up an inroad, do a big event where like, hey, we hosted you. So in the future, anything happens with whether he gets big in this or does that or whatever he does, now you've got a contact. I think that is the ultimate purpose of this interview. It absolutely is not to hold his feet to the fire or anything, because again, we've seen PBD do that, and he's clearly not doing that. And I think it's just about sometimes it's not all, especially with somebody like The Rock, it's not necessarily going to be about, well, what do you think about this political thing? What do you think about this political thing? Sometimes, like, it really is just like, wow, you're a great person, and we want to hear what great people have to say. You've accomplished a lot, and that's it. Like when they did the Tom Brady interview, that was pretty much the same kind of vibe. But I think there's a lot to be learned from people who are doing unique things.
Lost, but still, I'm a fan of the game. I'm a fan of the sport. I just don't think it's what it was 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I think 90s to me was 90s, 2000. Mr. Olympia was a very unique time for that sport.
They were also coming out of the 80s too as well, and out of the 80s, aesthetically, the bodybuilders, they aesthetically, their bodies just look different, like the Arnolds of the day and guys of Frank Zane. It really had like some pretty impressive physiques.
Yeah. Oh, those men, they look so good. Shout out again. Oh my goodness. Did we just rock out? The whole thing? We knocked out all the co-sponsors. Zippy said everything is softball until it's not. I'm not going to read that part, but thank you. Let's Get Morty is a treat. And of course, that makes you the new sole sponsor of the stream. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to. That. Yeah, it's more specific to like just who he is and like because of the things that he's accomplished. How does he feel about these things? Where does it come from? It's not meant to be a adversarial interview. And then they do a Q&A. So
what's your favorite physique wise?
Of all time?
Frank Zane is like waist 29. I don't know what his waist was, but
physique-wise, I would say Arnold in his heyday. I thought he had a phenomenal physique.
Yeah. One of a kind.
Which, by the way, you're no little guy either. I don't know if you guys have seen Patrick up close. He's a big guy.
We're taking a picture, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, how tall are you? We kind of go, I'm like, 6'5". He's like, yeah, I'm like, a tall guy. You're talking to him. So business. We got 10 minutes. In about 10 minutes, we'll go to questions. So if some of you guys want to line up by the mic, we'll go there here in a minute.
Right.
But question,
right.
You've been in a lot of rooms that you've done negotiations with, right? Look what fights are going to break out. Guys, we can't do like 50 of them, but it's just going to be a couple we'll go to. But you've been in a lot of rooms that you've negotiated with, right? Negotiation rooms. even the story you just told right now, Vince, of what happened from, hey, 155 years, 750 to, hey, I want to take 2 million. How is your, well, I want to make 2 times what Stone makes. I'm okay. Now, you know what? I'm actually willing to do $1 million, and I'm like 150, $1.5 million. Oh, you know what you're going to make this year? What? Actually, $15 million. Holy shit, life changing, right? What have you learned from being in negotiating rooms, movies, contracts, terms, short-term, mid-term, long-term? Do you have 2 or 3 things from maybe mistakes being made, we should have done this differently, that you could say, these are 3 things we follow when it comes down to negotiation?
Sure. I think when it comes to negotiations, I like to try to remember that we want the same thing. Let's get to a good place. Again, it goes back to what you and I talked about earlier about let's have the conversation. Let's have the dialogue.
Let's have the conversation. Stop trying to win an argument and just have the conversation.
Sometimes it gets tricky in Hollywood because there's a lot of managers and there's agents and there's people involved. There's
pedophiles.
It's business affairs. You have a lot of people doing the talking for me and they're all qualified, but too many conversations and too many people in the room can start to stunt the progress of where you need to go. So it's much easier for me now out of the gates. Let me call either business affairs, let me call the head of the studio. Here's what I'm thinking. Let's cut away the fat at first in terms of negotiation. Here's what I'd like to get. What do you think? Does this work? Here's where we're going to bring it in. We'll be fiscally responsible. We're these kinds of partners, etc. What I realized in the past, it's informed me today, is at the end of the day, no one can talk on your behalf better than you.
Fair.
And how important that is.
I think that's actually, that's powerful. Nobody can speak for you and on your behalf better than you can. I can't do it. I can speak for myself better than you can speak for me, but only you have the power to express what's in your mind. Some of the things in my mind might also be in your mind, but that's not good enough.
So are you really negotiating? Like, are there many cases where you're doing the deals? Like,
well, I don't have to get into the nuts and bolts of that part. I say, here's my goal. I think this feels right. And everyone else can then talk. But
let me say something.
So for example, if we were making a deal together, Value Entertainment, say $7, I come to you directly and say, what do you think about this? What do you think? You and I will go back and forth. And then we would call our guys to come in and handle the details.
I want to give a compliment to, he's the only person that's done this. And by the way, we've booked a lot of people over the years. You name them, Kevin Hart, Kobe Bryant, Tom, names that are like, in their space, they're big. When Brad and I were talking, one day Dana White calls me, says, hey, Pat, I'm in Abu Dhabi. It's 3:30 in the morning. You got a minute? Call me. Great. What's happening, Dana? Hey, do you know this guy named Brad Slater? I'm like, oh, yeah, of course I know Brad Slater. Yeah, of course. I'm like, yeah, I know who he is. He's a fan. He wants to talk to you. Are you okay if I put you guys in a group text? Great guy. Let me tell you a story about Brad. One time I went in there. We started off rough, but we have a very good relationship now. So, okay, great. No problem. So I talked to Brad. Hey, would love to meet with you. I go in LA. We have that 3-hour lunch together at one of the hotels.
I got a story about Dana, too. I want to tell you.
Great. I'd love to hear it. So then Brad and I walk away. So what if we do this? What if we do that? What if we do this? Nothing's going on. It's like, well, you represent The Rock. Yeah, I do. He represents a lot of different ways. He represents The Rock. I said, Brad, what about The Rock coming to the Vault Conference? He says, let me talk to him. And I'm like, all right, cool. Next thing you know, on a Sunday, you reach out to me.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And what do you think about this? I'm like,
right.
I'm telling you, no one does that ever.
What are you saying?
And in that moment, I'm like, this guy is a freaking involved guy in the deals, in the trenches, and you rarely see that. And then even throughout the process of doing, hey, interview, we're going to go to this angle. Hey, Rock, I want to talk about this. Well, what about this? And what about that? We're going back and forth. Normally, this guy's one of one. It's like, hey, handlers, you guys handle this. We're not going to da-da-da-da-da. No, it's just right here.
Yeah.
The way you approached that was a lot of respect to you, because I would have expected our team to just communicate all of it, but we went through it, and it ended up being an unbelievable experience.
Yes, and it has to be like this. This is the way it should be. Like I was just saying earlier, like no one can speak on your behalf better than you, period. And so I feel like, because when it starts to go through other people, it starts to get filtered through their lens and perhaps what their agenda could be. And so, and I'm not knocking, it's not an indictment on anybody else who was on my team, but everyone serves a purpose, and they're all really, really good at what they do, a lot better than I could be at their job. But this kind of conversation this is where the magic happens, when it's like this.
That's very impressive, because you know what it makes me think about? Here's what it makes me think about. I know you don't want to go there. I'm just making a statement. It tells me later on, if let's just say you do run and shit hits the fan, I think you're the guy that's going to call the president and say, hey, listen, all the shit everybody's talking about, what are we going to do? Yeah. I foresee you being the kind of guy that's going to call the guy directly, not hide behind closed doors and have wired phone ear, whatever, to claim like they're busy, but, they don't want to answer have the conversation. Anyways, forget about what I just said there, but you guys understand what I'm saying. I think you'll make a phone call. I think you'll make that direct phone call. You had a Dana story.
We got a Dana story. So I'm very fortunate to, be in this position that I'm in terms of social media. So about 10 years ago, as social media, a little bit before that was hitting, it was a section and a vertical of our world that I didn't understand. And I didn't get it. It wasn't clicking with me. I thought, well, who cares what I'm having for lunch or what kind of ketchup I'm going to put on? That's the way I saw it back then. And I thought, I just don't see the value of this. And I had a conversation with my team. You should join social media. And I went, I'm just not too sure if we should do that. I don't know if it's for me. I go see Dana. I've been great friends with Dana for 15, 20 years now. And I go see him and we're in the back. And at this time he was on Twitter, king at that time, very engaged. And he goes, dude, are you on social media? I went, no. He's like, you have to get on. And they're calling him out to the event, by the way. He's got to get out there because the show is live, the pay-per-view. And he goes, tell him I'll be out there in a second. Hold on. This is very important.
Obviously, yeah. You got to do important. Social media. Okay.
You know how determined he gets when you talk to him about something.
Of course.
You have to. And I was like, brother, I don't know if it's for me, man. I said, you do it well on Twitter. And at that time, Instagram, I don't even know was up and running yet. And then he goes, I'm telling you have to, but here's why. He said, you will engage in ways that fans in ways that nobody's doing. And what's important to you is to connect with people. I said, it's the most important thing. This will allow you to connect with people because you will control everything that you do.
The problem is that you're not a relatable person. You're not a relatable person. You might have a relatable personality. There's aspects of you that we can tell you're not like some fucking lizard or a robot, but you're not a relatable person. And so the people who are following his social media are probably not people who have anything to say about anything, because that's like, what are you getting? What worldly advice or opinions or things are you? Hey man, it's 5 a.m. I'm gonna work out. Like, oh, I mean, okay, cool.
Years later, I wind up fortunately becoming the most followed American man in the world, all thanks to Dana White.
Oh wow! Shout out to Dana. There you go.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yes. Give it up. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I got a gift for you. I got to give you this gift, man. I got 2 gifts for you.
The gift?
Appreciate you.
Let's see the gift.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm ready for this debate. I'm ready for this debate.
Do you have both? Where's the other one? Okay, so I got 2 things. You're a movie guy. Anything I give you, you can go buy it, or you probably have it anyways. But you may not have these 2. So this is a signed script of Godfather Francis Coppola.
Wow.
I know you're a Godfather guy, and I think you're an Elvis guy, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. You're an Elvis guy. So am I. Big fan of Elvis. This is Elvis. He wrote this Christmas card in 1959 when he was in the Army. This is signed by Elvis. I wanted to give this gift to you as well as somebody that's an Elvis fan. I hope you appreciate this gift.
Wow, thank you so much,
for coming out.
Man.
Yes.
Wow.
And we'll ship this to you.
This is amazing.
Right.
Yes.
Big shout out to The Rock. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Again, I think there is just a lot to gain from understanding how people who have, just success in general, successful people have a mindset and have particular things about the way that they think that helps them get rich. But you also have that uniqueness factor where nobody who is like The Rock, nobody, for better or for worse, he's just very unique. And so hearing what he has to say is not necessarily changing anything about how I think about this or that, but that is something that I'm glad I now have in my head. I'm glad I was witness to what Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson would say when asked those types of questions. Would I have loved if PBD was, gained a real like journalistic interview? That would be awesome. And maybe that's coming in the future. But for right now, I think it will. He said, I'm a puke. Oh. Well, it's over. It's all over. It's all over. I want to give a big thank you to all of our donations, guys. Each and every one of you I mean, I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you. It cannot exist without you. And whether it's 99 cents or $99, it means the world to me. And it is very, very important that I do this. I continue to do this, and you guys are making that possible. So again, I really do appreciate you guys. I really appreciate these types of conversations. I appreciate all the types of conversations that we have, and I really enjoy spending this time with you. And let's go see what's good with this debate. I don't know what's going. I haven't gotten any responses yet. We got 2 people in the audience. Well, let's see what's good. Thank you again, guys, for hanging out with me. This is my co-host Morty, and I have been your host Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus. Here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace.